reflect on what is going on right now in Palestine. It's something that I understand that I've come to, to the conclusion that most individuals and most people are very passive and are very self-interested. And as we all should be, we should all be interested in preserving ourselves and our livelihoods and everything, but we just live in a very selfish timeline that people don't want to put their pockets at risk. Whether it's DJ Khaled, as you said, and his stance on what's going on and his own personal success, or as far as, let's just say NBA players and that moment when they decided that they were going to boycott the NBA during the 2020 police brutality situations. And all it took was a phone call from Barack Obama to tell them, hey, I don't think you guys should boycott the NBA. Let's just really sit back and think about it. There's better ways to do this. So I just think that in terms of change, where we are in society and humanity, not a lot is going to happen as we're seeing. Like, we all know what's going on in Palestine is wrong. We all know that there's people in our government that should be held accountable for what they're allowing to happen. But a lot of people in society don't have the backbone and the spine to do what's right. And that's just what it is. That's where I'm coming to, because I've protested. Listen, in my personal life, I've even told an Israeli woman that came to my institution as a spokesperson to try to, educate my peers on what's going on in the Middle East right now, or what we call the Middle East. And I had to tell her off. Like, listen, I don't know if you can, but this is the most informative generation that has ever walked this planet. It doesn't take much to Google and understand, what happened truly in 1948 and where this all took, what needed to take place for all of this to happen.
Yeah.
And she was confused. So, to answer your question, man, rappers, celebrities, they're not gonna do anything about it, because we're just in the timeline where people are worried about their pockets, and being selfish is cool. Being selfish is doing the right thing. And that's just my personal opinion.
Thank you so much for that, Buck 12. I only really, get serious when I'm talking to Gen Z and others, right? Because they're the future. So, yeah, keep hope alive. A lot of hypocrites are coming out of the woodwork now. The joke was made about DJ Khaled, but where's Rihanna? She has children. So eventually in a month, she'll come out and say, oh, it's so awful what's happening to children. And some of us know that it's all hypocritical, because the industry, pays them and they dance a tune. They dance for their master, the Zionists. We know this. So keep hope alive and keep your spirit going. You're the future and you're the light. Shout out to you.
Why acting like we give a fuck what DJ Khaled says about anything?
Fuck all these mainstream establishment artists.
Y'all still ain't bring me into the light. I don't even know what we talking about. Why was DJ even mentioned? What happened with it?
He's a supporter of Palestine and the whole
No.
His heritage is
right.
Yeah, right.
They should tell.
I thought you were talking about Khaled.
There's too many talking. That's why I couldn't understand the first time.
Yeah, let me go ahead.
I'll shoot for it again.
Information is people have asked him to, have a voice.
You can't do one night.
So he had on a beach and talked about it. Is that the problem?
No, there's a recent picture. The beach. Okay, guys, there's a recent picture. You probably will see it on your timeline of DJ Khaled. And when you look at the picture, can't wait for you guys to see it. You'll see a very large.
Okay, we get it.
A lot of weight.
Wait a minute. Don't interrupt him. I need to understand.
Let me ask the question. I'm gonna answer.
Robert, you gotta back it up. Dave Chappelle woke it up first by making the where's
No.
Why is that?
This is good stuff. Y'all gotta listen. This is good stuff. Listen, guys.
Dave Chappelle said it first. He's like, you know what? And this is Dave Chappelle that hasn't said nothing in a minute. Came out of the woodwork, made a tweet, said, hey, where's DJ Khaled in all this? You're looking at Gaza starving. This guy's, he's been awfully quiet for being Palestinian, especially when he looks, and he's fat as hell. He's the only fat Palestinian on earth. I'll pull up the direct quote, but that's what he.
So let me just say this: the whole him looking like whatever on the beach it has nothing to do with the conversation. The point is, Dave Chappelle brought up the fact that he's the biggest Palestinian celebrity right now. Why is he not saying something? That's what it means.
Yeah, he says he's the only fat Palestinian.
Right.
I think when you're saying that, I think that part of the context is making it confusing for the room. I'm just let's.
It shouldn't be. It's not confusing. It's not confusing.
Oh my gosh, it's confusing when you're cutting me off. Hold on, Robert. Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. The point of it is we can talk about people should speak up, but when people aren't making large amounts of money, I think it's fair to hold them responsible, which is interesting because I have never heard anyone from the Palestinian community holding DJ Khaled responsible. So it was interesting that Dave Chappelle did.
What is it that he should be held responsible for?
No, Palestinians have criticized him. They have criticized.
Hold on, Robert. Can you let somebody else go? Well, Matt, go ahead, because you was gonna ask my question.
Yeah, what is it that he's responsible for? He's in DJ that grew in Miami, went to New York, and has been in the hip-hop industry for 20 plus fucking years. What is he supposed to be responsible for? We've never taken advice from DJ Khaled on fun. We've never taken his financial advice. We've never taken his sports takes. Most people don't even take his musical taste seriously, right? Because people criticize if he's actually a fucking producer or not, and half of the people don't even give a fuck for his DJing skills. So as a character who has really good friends in the industry and has made a career for himself based off of his relationships and not really the music he makes or the records he spins, why the fuck do we care now? And why do you think he should step out of pocket, out of his lane that he's been in for 20 plus years? He's never spoke on any political issues. So what makes you think he should now?
I'm gonna go because I let Womack take my turn. And just to add to that, I'll button it out a little bit. Where does it come from, this expectation that because people have money, right, or that because people have wealth, or that they have celebrity, that they are obligated to act in ways that other people determine are righteous or humanist or whatever? Like, where does that expectation come from?
So,
just to add to Womack's question.
If I may, excuse me, please. Before October 7th.
Somebody else was going to go, actually.
Oh, the truth. I'm going to bring the truth.
Who was it that came off of the mic?
So you want to fight?
Hold on
Genocide.
Hold on 1 second, because I got to go to a meeting. But let me just answer a bunch of those questions really quickly.
Oh, you trapped point too well. Okay.
I got a job. I'm sorry. But the first one is, if I'm the person that's purchasing, I can make decisions about what I purchase. And so if I don't feel like you're doing enough, I can make that decision for me personally. And I think that we should all exercise that right, that if we don't like how somebody that we're supporting, including Coca-Cola or whoever else, is moving, then we should not support them. So that's why I don't F with Fat Joe, because which is going to tie back into this. Fat Joe is the one defending non-black people using the N-word because it's part of the culture. Fuck that. So that's why I don't fuck with Fat Joe, even though I like his rapping style, whatever. I just don't. In addition to that, the same thing here. DJ Khaled did speak up about Fat Joe and said, like, we shouldn't be coming after him about using the N-word. He did speak out and say we shouldn't be coming after him about him calling, when he was in the Verses, those two black women dusty black bitches. It was Lil Mo and whoever else was on there. So he did speak out about that. To him, that was a big deal. But talking about his own people is not a big deal. That just seems odd. So to me, hold on, let me land. To me, that's enough for me to at least question it. And I respect Dave Chappelle for saying something that was unpopular with a lot of people because the numbers disagree with. Is it Womack? The numbers disagree with you. That nigga DJ Khaled is popular.
So
what is that? I never said he wasn't popular.
Walmart. We're not looking for his advice. Hold on, we're not looking for his advice. We're looking for him. We're looking for him to use his people are looking for him to use his influence. People are looking for him to use his influence to show some level.
What's your new name, bro, Robert?
Oh, yeah. So that's it. That's what people are hopeful for. Not advice, but simple fucking empathy, simple acknowledgement of the fucking shit that's going on in your homeland, man. That's it. Nobody's asking him to be an advocate or do anything to the extreme. But God darn, you like nothing. You don't acknowledge nothing.
This is just moral grandstanding, though. The shit.
It's not about grandstanding.
This is. You know why? Because Buddy just talked about Fat Joe.
He let you finish, so let him.
Yeah, it's about like, and yes, Palestinians have echoed their concerns or their wishes that they would he do something or bring some type of attention. Yes. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all ODing, like.
Okay. So go ahead, Womack.
This is moral grandstand. Hold on, point. You can go right after me. This is just some moral grandstanding bull. So, Buddy, whoever it was that brought Fat Joe hasn't had a record in forever. You're not gonna convince me you're boycotting Fat Joe's fucking music, right? DJ 22 or 21. Like that. He hasn't even been doing music like that in the last 3 or 4 years. The fact that you want these people to come out of their little pockets that they've been in, sheltering themselves with their industry relationships, their wealth, and everything else that they put around them. You think they're coming out of pocket to talk on a situation that they never touched on? This situation has been going on since he's been in the industry, right? There's been issues in Gaza since he's been in the industry. He's never spoken, not one time. The fact that you think that you can just guilt trip somebody into stepping out of their own pocket is fucking weird to me, because what is the purpose? We're gonna argue about DJ Khaled for another hour and nothing's gonna change, and he's not gonna even if Khaled spoke on it, it wouldn't change a thing. That's just my only point. He wouldn't change shit.
All right,
I notice you're trying to silence me, and I know the reason why. And the reason why is this: because before October 7th, there was nothing but Palestine coming out of DJ Khaled's mouth, and you can go double check that. Once October 7th broke, DJ Khaled knows he works for Zionists, and he better shut the fuck up. Dave Chappelle said what he said, but if you really, really understood what he said, he was going way, way over DJ Khaled's head. He was going to the Zionists that own the record industry, and he's basically saying Rihanna even is quiet. Beyonce has children, she's quiet, and DJ Khaled, you fat fuck, you're from Palestine. So the issue is what's going to happen to Dave now, because he went after the power structure. You thought he was going after DJ Khaled, but that's your small mind. So the issue is, this is why Kamala lost. And that's why you've been silencing me and don't want me to speak on the stage.
All right,
You're triggered.
All right.
I know you're triggered. The audience knows you're triggered.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have an administrative point. You said what you said.
Yeah, but you never tapped anyone else and slowed anyone else down, saying, okay, then, only me. Why? Because I know the truth, and I know you know the truth, and it's bothering you. So here's what we're facing in America now. Under a dictatorship, your balls are being squeezed by the orange cheetah, and he's hired the same people used to do the genocide to come do it to you through Palantir. But you're going to find out later. So thank you.
You're welcome, babe. All right, I have an administrative situation. Somebody has Mr. Barefoot. He needs to get some shoes on his feet. Michael Barefoot blocked. Who's got Michael Barefoot blocked?
It's crazy. He's the least blockable person on the whole app.
Exactly.
I think I
Shame
tripped
on
in
you.
my room, like
Shame.
my phone was wet. What's his profile? You said Michael Blackfoot?
Barefoot. Barefoot. B-E-A-R.
He's
But
barefoot.
it's
Yeah,
B-E-A-R.
Wait,
Yeah, he's got-
B-E-A-B.
He got
He's
lots.
the gentlest teddy bear on Clubhouse.
Y'all,
I know, it's
What
me.
is
I'm
the
sorry.
white people having people blocked though.
I did this the other day. No, but that was totally
Sam, I don't know what's
I think you guys got my mama blocked. Can y'all unblock her, please?
No, I literally, my phone was wet. I said that the other day.
So your phone is wet and that causes you to block people is what you saying?
No, I don't, like, you know, sometimes your phone does, like, it presses buttons when it gets really wet.
There's barefoot.
If you try to handle the mic,
Who said it was the water that got in your phone that blocked you? It was the holy water. I don't know.
I'm really
no,
sorry. I had
sometimes I on mic with my hands wet, and then I have to try to mute up. But
Yeah, so
I don't know about that blocking stuff. Not crazy. Clubhouse, please remove blocking.
That guy, no.
Let these people deal with these crazy people.
No, he's not crazy at all. Like, he's
Oh, no,
just
not him. I'm just saying, like,
he's never said anything crazy.
I just want to say I got credit again for mending the peace. Thank you.
Well, there was nothing to mend, but you did get credit the other day for mending. But this was a mistake that my phone, I did ask my phone.
It's fine. I take
Yeah, you apologized to him, Sin. I told him that you said sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine. I take credit for it anyway. Thank you.
I'm gonna start blocking people because I want to be a part of the people that block. I want to feel special.
Start with
You want to? What? No, don't do that. That's not nice.
Because when y'all say somebody blocked somebody, I never have somebody blocked, so I don't.
All right. I'm sorry for the interruption. Y'all get back to the Palestine conversation. I had to administrative. I know. I'm just saying there was somebody that probably wanted to respond. So here's my take on Khaled. I hear what people are saying. You are expecting this from him, and that's perfectly fine. However, I'm looking at it from the standpoint if I were in this person's shoes. I don't know that I would or that I wouldn't. But for me to have an expectation of someone and then shine them in a bad light, I don't think that that's good at all. And that's my point. You got that point?
I don't know. Yeah, social capital exists. What's going on? Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Social capital exists. They're leveraging their celebrity, their personality, all of these things, and they've put themselves in the position to be critiqued on every single thing. As a result, that is a part of the job that they've taken on. They know this, and we have no. There's nothing on us to be silent about that. We have no imperatives. No. It's not our prerogative to be silent on how we feel about their responses to things that we feel that people in the public sphere should be responding to. And silence on an issue that's serious in the public sphere is something to talk about. And then particularly with somebody who's actually from that area with family. Oh my God. Yeah, we don't owe that to him to be silent or to not have a critique on any moral basis. You can see he's silent, say something. Like, the problem is we're not saying anything at all. The problem is nobody's saying anything. The problem is everybody's just like, everybody hates what they see and nobody says shit.
I got you. But my thing is, for me, if there's something going on in your life that's personal, and then people start asking you questions about what's going on in your life, right? And you don't care to discuss or give them that information, you have the right to that privacy. He has a right to his privacy. He doesn't have to come out and say anything. It's not mandatory. Yeah, you can want what you want, but everybody's old enough for your wants not to hurt. You better scratch your ass and get glad. Like,
Yeah, but
seriously,
you old people need to get off Clubhouse because you don't understand and it goes way over your head. This is why Kamala lost. Because you couldn't connect the dots.
Hold on real quick.
Right?
So,
Why is it every time I'm speaking, it's hold on? And other people speak, if you never say, hold on to them. And I know why you do that. Because now you're sitting in your shit that Kamala lost. Now you're thinking back. And then you'll connect the dots to understand that's why I'm not finished. That's why she lost more than 15 million votes. Because of the fucking issue we're discussing right now. And that's why you have the orange Cheeto up your ass. And you don't want to look at it because you know it's true, but you're hypocrites. The issue is not DJ Khaled. Robert dropped something. You don't even get the underlying. And you're still focused on a fat guy on the beach. That shows where you are. And in 6 months, then you'll go, oh my God, I get it now. It's too late then. So it's just like the video you were listening to, the clip you were listening to about Nancy Pelosi's trades. 45 days after the bitch made the trade.
After the
I mean, you guys, this is why I trolled you. Thank you.
Thank you for saying.
So Khaled is not obligated to do anything, but everyone can have their own opinion. To me, he's spineless. How do you have a platform and you don't say shit about what's going on with your own people? Period.
Yeah,
He's
we
fucking
know that.
spineless.
Yeah, we know that, but the issue is bigger than that. I'm trying to think about Khaled.
Well, to be fair, like if we're talking about an artist, he is technically a business, and businesses operate using what's it called? Business ethics, right? They have a thing called corporate social responsibility. So every company or any entity that is trying to make money always considers their business ethics, because the way that they're perceived is very important, because they know that if I'm doing the wrong thing socially, I'm going to be held liable and accountable for that. Right or wrong? Is that something that we're all aware about here?
Sure, but you don't go boycott every company who hasn't spoke out against what's happening in Gaza, bro. You don't do that.
Hold on, brother. So I disagree with that, because again, if I use the example of the 2020 protests when it came to police brutality and the death of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, companies were jumping out the gate and virtue signaling, saying that, hey, we stand with black people, we are listening to your plights and the things that you're going through, and we know it's wrong. They were coming out and saying statements like that because they knew that, hey, they could be next. They could be boycotted next. They could be protested next. So I disagree with that.
You can disagree. That doesn't make it true. I mean, and not to mention those particular situations that happened that you just spoke on happened in America. There is no corporate gain by and large for being a political figure for what's happening in Palestine for a lot of these companies. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't right. I'm not saying that what's happening over there isn't wrong, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't say anything about it. I think everybody should point a light on it. But what I'm saying is there is no, if there's a random fucking tech company, there is no incentive for them to just say free Palestine fucking header of their profile page or of their website. It doesn't make sense. So your argument, while I get some of what you're saying, doesn't apply across.
Please. So hold on real quick. Let me just respond. So I disagree, because again, you can see it right now, even what's happening or what happened with universities and what Trump had to do, because certain universities were taking stances, their student body were holding them accountable. This definitely affects us. I mean, AIPAC is one of the biggest lobbyists in our country. So what happens over there directly affects us. It affects us to the point that...
Why are we talking about impact?
I said AIPAC.
I know, but you're saying that it impacts us. It affects us. I'm saying, why are we talking about... Okay.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm trying to understand what you're asking me.
No, I mean, I want you to go ahead with your submission. I'm just trying to figure out why are we gearing off. I don't think that's his submission about saying that it doesn't impact us. I feel like you're going deeper into making
I'm saying
a different point than what we were talking about.
I'm saying that it does impact us, and I'm stating why. And I said how a lobbyist, a lobbyist. Hold on. Oh gosh.
Hold on, Factuel. Because you were talking over First Lady, you missed what she was asking. She understands that you're saying it impacts us. Her comment was she can make her comment. Go ahead, First Lady, because he didn't hear it because he was talking.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how is that relevant to Womack's point, because Womack isn't making the point that it isn't or can't be impact or affected, to us, or an impact to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm just trying to figure out why.
So I'm even more confused because I was directly answering that. He said that something happening in the Middle East does not affect us, and that's what he was speaking on to the example of the police brutality example that I used, and I'm saying that
he made a point about it not being impactful. Okay.
Yeah, let me clarify that point. My point was not that it doesn't affect us. My point is the companies that we should boycott are not incentivized by just randomly speaking out on that particular issue. Not that they shouldn't, again, but there's a bunch of companies who are not incentivized to do that because their customer base is not going to be affected if they do not speak on it. So rather than politicizing their companies.
Okay. So now that you stated that, I disagree because Starbucks was directly impacted because Starbucks lost a lot of fucking money throughout these last 2 years.
Look at their figure, they're using it. You guys
no, they actually did. Hold on, stop fucking interrupting me.
You've been speaking for so long.
No, stop fucking interrupting me. Are you good? Are you good, bro? It's like this to be about money.
Everybody go mute. Okay, so if
I'm sorry, I'm just like
people, if you're talking over people, then you can't be mad when people talk over you. So if your rule is, if your rule is you don't want to be interrupted, then don't talk over people.
So with all due respect, I did not. Because you cutting me off.
Because I'm trying to bring the temperature down with everybody bickering back and forth, sir.
I understand that, man, but I myself did not interrupt anybody.
Everybody can hear what's being said.
I understand that, man, but I was interrupted.
That's what
I understand that, man. I was the one that was interrupted, and I was responding to the interruptions.
But now what I'm saying to you is, you're not recognizing that you were also interrupting. You interrupted and you talked over Womack, right? You interrupted.
He was responding to me.
And you're interrupting and you're talking over me now. All I'm saying is, if your rule is you do not want to be interrupted, then you should not interrupt. So you got I think you got about 15 seconds, and then we're going to go into Odie. Please, nobody interrupt, so he can wrap it up in 15 seconds, and then Odie can make his comment, and if necessary, they can have that thing back and forth. And then after Odie, it'll be Johnny's thing.
Y'all can have it because I lost my point.
Okay. Odie's on the phone.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I find it kind of problematic that we put so much pressure on celebrities or public figures to be advocates or be vocal in certain situations just because they may have some type of connection to the situation. And I'll agree, I'm biased because I worked in a space where I dealt with and managed the reputations and public profiles of people. But who's to say that, because this happens a lot, people who have persuasion and influence and they have reputations and they have power and prominence, who's to say that they're not doing things behind the scenes or in private? Because a lot of people, the most savvy people in a lot of deals and negotiations are made, they use their public influence to make deals and advocate privately because they don't want the glory and accolades, because they don't want the PR ops, they don't don't want the press photos. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not saying I know particularly what DJ Khaled is doing, but a lot of people do that, and then it takes like sleuths and a lot of people, a lot of digging for people to realize what happened months later because it wasn't supposed to be private. I just leave that.
I would agree with you. I would have. Oh shit.
Yeah, can you let Odie go because he missed his turn?
Yeah, thank you. So I find this argument.
Missed his turn is great.
I find this argument very ridiculous. Sorry. So MJ is here. Every day I fight MJ. They've cancelled TPS. So let me ask you people talking about this DJ Khaled and stuff. MJ, how many rooms have you done on how Trump is cancelling TPS of Haitians, Venezuelans, things that will affect? I don't see any room. I don't see any room you and Lonzo do. But you guys have this strange outrage about what DJ. You're not from Palestine. And I find it, and you guys do it a lot, you Pan-Africanists. You can never love Palestine more than DJ Khaled. Let me repeat it again. You can never, none of you on this stage would love Palestine more than DJ Khaled. You might disagree with his tactics, which you don't know, but this very idea that you know what he's doing is you can never love Palestine. You have no roots there. You have no history there. You have no family there. You guys should take it easy. You can't love his country more than him.
Yeah.
So this very idea that you guys should come, you guys come and say he's not doing anything. You don't know what he's doing.
Sure.
You clearly don't know what he's doing.
No.
Can I finish? Please, you guys
that doesn't like to be interrupted, Ty?
I thought it was.
No, that's somebody else. That's resistance. That wasn't
Exactly.
Guys, look at the stage, guys. Come on.
Well, the voices all sound alike.
Well, actually, it was both of us to be.
Let me figure out what I'm saying. I don't know why you guys are talking. I don't know what I've done.
Thank you.
It's 2 years. It's 2 years. You guys should let it go. MJ, especially you. You should let it go. You have no power. Kamala lost. We have nobody here can do. You guys can cry all day. But commission attack. And lastly, corporations in America don't need to do anything about Palestine. I mean, it's like, what's going on here? Like corporations in America, they don't need to do anything. There is no social penalty for them. There is not one social penalty for any corporation in America that does Starbucks. You know how much Starbucks make? Someone used to drink Starbucks. Who is boycotting Starbucks? Who is boycotting McDonald's? There is no social penalty. The thing that people should have done was to make sure that Harris, if you care so much about Palestine, if you care so much about people dying, you should have made sure that Kamala Harris won. But some of you said she's a killer. She's genocide. And now you want... Can you stop it? What's wrong with you guys, man? I mean, these are the things you guys do. None of you here is Palestinian. None of you here love Palestinian than anybody. So, I mean, you guys should control yourselves, I beg. What's the party like? What happened?
Free Gaza now. Free Gaza now.
So let me figure out what I'm saying. So this
everybody.
Am I a mod? If I start moving people down, it's being my road. You guys should taper your expectations. You have no power. You should have. Let me repeat again. 2024 elections was a defining moment for you people. For you guys that are so pro-Palestinian. The pro-Palestinian movement is dead. You can't protest anymore. People protesting Trump is done. Trump is giving you the real treatment that you felt that Joe Biden was giving to you guys. You can't even protest. You can't talk too much. They'll just arrest you. You should have fought for it and did what you want. So you cannot come here and be shouting DJ Khaled or I care so much. Some of you were shouting and saying there's no difference between Biden and Harris. I mean, Harris and Trump. I guess you can see the difference now. Trump has openly agreed to Netanyahu's plan for Gaza. I expect you guys to start a protest. Start protesting. Lastly, let me end with this.
Oh my God, Odie. Now, seriously, now you're being abusive.
Let me finish, man.
You on a 12-minute rant. All right.
I said it's like I've only spoken for 3 minutes. I look at the time.
First lady, he interrupted me, and I had to give 15
All right, babe. I got it, babe. Go ahead. Come on. I beg. Oh, go.
So this very idea, let me tell you, you guys will come 2 years time, 3 years time, you'll be talking about Gaza, and I'll point you, and then nobody lost because of pro-Palestinian people. You have no power. You lost because of immigration and this trans movement. But you guys can be crying every day. Some of you guys have mobilized people like MJ. Mobilize
Lady, can you translate that, please? Can you translate that into
No, thank you. That's gonna take too long to translate.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, wait a minute. One second. So, FUCK 12 is supposed to get in there. Resistance is supposed to get in there. Or was that you?
MJ wanted to talk to.
But he talked directly to me. I think I'm a quick response.
Okay. Oh, yours is never.
What language? Is that?
Put your seatbelt.
Incredibly brief. Incredibly brief.
Stop silencing fuck 12. Stop silencing fuck 12.
Now, fuck 12 will speak. I will only give him the floor. So, Odie, I'm going to tell you what Khaled should have done. Right? Just like what you did to me just now, you tried to make it such that I'm not speaking on Haiti. When Dave Chappelle said that, I would have publicly, like I'm going to publicly to you right now, do my Haiti work in real life. Right? I do actual things. Right? I don't need to profess. I don't need to, have some kind of political speech 24/7 on what I actually do to change lives in Haiti every single day. What I've dedicated my life to. Right? So, right, what you're saying about me and what I do from the country that I come from is rooted in ignorance. And you should, right, shut your mouth. That's what Khaled should have done to D.L. Hughley. That's what he should have did to Dave Chappelle. But I'm doing Odie.
We're done. Go ahead, FUCK.
Go ahead, fuck 12.
Should I let him respond first, or should I go?
No, fuck that bullshit. Let's move on.
Come on.
Go ahead, 12.
If I can respond. I'm dead. Come on, I'm dead. All right, but so I just wanted to say that voting for Kamala Harris would have not done anything for the Palestinian plight. She herself is a Zionist. She has said, and her stance on it has always been, especially during presidential debates, that Israel has the right to defend itself, which, nobody disagrees, but that clearly states the side that she's on. She's been very diplomatic when it comes to the Israeli Zionist aspect of this conflict, and voting for her is what many Arabs, especially those that come from Palestine, did not want to do. That's why she lost that voting block. So I think, let me see how you pronounce Odian word. That's why a lot of people would not have won or gained anything despite who they have voted for, because both presidential candidates are clear Zionists. So I just wanted to state that.
So let me give me 1 minute. First, let me put a poll. You see why you can just say no, especially Americans. They did a poll in Palestine themselves. 75% of the Palestinians during this war wanted Harris to win. So you say that Harris and Trump are the same thing. Then you guys are so ridiculous. A poll came out from Palestine. They wanted 75% of people in Gaza wanted Harris to win. So I don't get what you're talking about, but it's okay. Don't worry. We are testing. There's something the Bible said. The Christian Bible says, "My father whipped you with canes. I will whip you with scorpions." What Trump is doing now is whipping them.
So they were able to get. So they were.
Wait a minute, nobody else get in there. Nobody else getting there. Resilience. What's going on? Resilience. You getting in or no?
Resistance. No, I'm just waiting for like I said, I got mad.
You want the ping pong to continue?
It's resilient today.
I want to state to that gentleman that sounds like he's either...
Be nice.
I'm going to definitely be nice. Either he's...
She going to translate, don't worry. She going to translate.
Either he's ignorant to facts or he's just...
I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to
I say this.
Shut up,
DJ Khaled. Once again, DJ Khaled's family.
Not the family.
Odie, be quiet. Odie.
I'm not tolerating insult from you. I know you.
I didn't insult you.
Translation, please.
I didn't insult you. So thank you.
He said he will not take this.
DJ Khaled's family members from Haifa and other parts of Palestine clearly stated, there's actually interviews with them that obviously you've never seen, It said that he has never been to Palestine since he was a child. He does not do anything financially or does any fundraising or anything for the people within the Palestine borders. They said he's never done that. These are his family members. They do not deal with him. That's number one. Number two, there are so many American Muslims who have done more for the plight of the Palestinians than any of those Arabs have done that have come and westernized. So you are, once again, are ignorant to the facts or you just don't want to know. That's number one. And number two is, I believe it was just yesterday, it was about 5,000 people in front of the UN rallying for the plight of the Palestinians. So when you say the Palestinian cause here in America is dead, once again, you're either ignorant or you don't know what's going on. Everyone in the world knows that not only pro-Palestinian Muslims, but pro-Palestinian Jews, Christians, and all type of denominations want the freedom and liberation of Palestinian people. And people are not going to stop bombarding the government with the little power they do have to stop them. And number three is, yes, everyone with intelligence knows that Kamala Harris, President Trump, or anyone who was running for the presidential election, their stance was they stand with Israel no matter what. Whether it was going to be a genocide openly or where it was going to be a genocide in closed doors like the Democrats like to do. The wolf in sheep clothing. The wolf in sheep clothing. They love to give the bombs, they love to give the money, and they say they want to help the Palestinians with a two-state solution. They're liars and they're worse terrorists than the Republicans.
Whoa.
All right.
That boy talking. What's up, Odie? What you got to say to that, brother?
Wait a minute. Put some brakes on this real quick. Because at the end of the day, Odie is saying that he loved that, whatever his name is, loves his country. You're saying that he doesn't love his country because somebody then said that he has never been back. Just because I haven't been back to somewhere doesn't mean I don't love it. You don't know what he does in his private life. As Johnny's has said, you know, I don't go around telling my family what.
But his family members do.
No, that's not true. So you
the way that man posts when he's in DR.
Excuse me, I will not be fucking interrupted. I am talking. And I will not be disrespected on my motherfucking stage. You understand me? Don't do it.
Yeah, First Lady.
All day long. Wait a minute. Who was that? Go ahead, say it again.
I was just rooting for you, my bad.
You're going to be in a groove rooting. So, like I was saying, at the end of the day, your family doesn't know who you screwed last night. Okay? Or, better yet, they don't know who you're going to screw tomorrow. Right? They don't know if you cheated on your wife or your husband or whatever. So for somebody to sit there and say, oh, they know what this person has done, you don't go around telling everybody what you did. Like if I go and feed the homeless, I don't put that shit on social media. When I go to my kitchen and I'm doing different things or whatever, I don't go around telling people, oh, this is what I did. If I went to my bank account and I went and I blessed somebody, I don't go around telling people that. So just because you think you know something, that is your assumption of what you think you know, right? So again, I hear what you're saying based off of what you think you know and the evidence that has been presented to you. But at the end of the day, we don't know for sure.
Yes, we do.
Okay, you're right. You're
gonna go, Odie, because I want to say something. Let me tell you something. When somebody has pride of their country, they talk about it, and they post about it. That man posts every summer, Barbados and DR living his motherfucking best life. Let's be very clear. He be trying to talk Spanish, Santo Domingo, and he be putting Dominicano soy, all that, okay?
He wants to be Jamaican.
Once again, when you have pride for the country you came from, you post it. He don't make a statement because guess what? Everybody above him is Jewish. is from Israel, and he's protecting his bag. That's the truth. Okay? And if he does send money, he may not send it under his name. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He's sending money, but he's not sending it under his name. He's sending it another way. That's the only way we would have known. But for his family to say that they're not sending nothing, I'm sure he got a lot of family over there.
I'm gonna put the videos in the chat of his family members.
And once again, I follow celebrities. I follow their Instagram. They put all their tea. If he's on the toilet, he posts. If he's on his damn treadmill, working out for the rest of his life because his ass never fucking lost weight, and he got all the money in the world to lose weight, he posts that shit. When he's fucking with his wife and bothering the shit out of her, he posts that. Once again, look at all the countries he goes to. It's everywhere but where he comes from. And I get it. You want to protect the bag, you protect the bag. I get it. I don't have that type of money, so maybe I'll be doing the same. But this is what it is. I understand. Not everybody is a pride for it. People get Americanized and forget where they came from. We hear this shit all the fucking time from all these first-generation immigrants and so forth. They forgot where they came from, where their parents came from. A lot of them don't got a passport. A lot of them don't go back and visit home. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
You could go back the last 20 years on social network. You'll never see him a picture or a video of him in Palestine. Never.
All of that is circumstantial evidence. You have pointed out everything that could possibly point to it, but we don't know. All you know is what you think you know. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to stand on that. That's it.
Well, I'm just saying it's not, like, at this point in time, with all the things that we know and excuse the background noise, to be a spineless individual, regardless of your status in society, you are a disgusting human being. Like that's all I have to say. Like regardless if you have the responsibility to do the right thing or whatever, like having no integrity, sitting and watching people starve, regardless of war, regardless of anything, just how educated people are and to have the level of access to wealth and resources to just not do anything, it's just some spineless shit. And people have all rights to call you out because you have more than too many opportunities to do the right thing and you choose not to. I don't think anybody should be here defending anybody at this point. Like, at this point, it's just like...
Okay, sorry. I just want to say this. I know people that are in the movement, and it's not an easy thing to almost give up your life, right? But there's plenty of people in America and worldwide that have lost their jobs. I have a friend that, I've said this before in this room, she's being followed, harassed. Her kid, they went after her job. They went after her kid's job. They are trying to get her kicked out of certain boards that she's a part of, things that she's been, a lifelong member of. So they're trying to remove all sorts of opportunity financially and just all sorts of things because she's standing up for Palestine. And what she's standing up for is for this certain particular business that's operating in Brooklyn. She's trying to get them kicked out of this particular building that's supposed to be serving small businesses and minority businesses. And this is actually a big business that receives funding from the government. And they're being allowed to operate in this space. So she's only going after, maybe this is just a small issue in the grand scheme of things, but there are really powerful people at play that are that want to take everything away from her. I mean, she's been followed, she's been stalked and harassed. I mean, I think it's, me personally, I don't worship money that bad. So I would certainly, say something, but at the end of the day, this person has to protect his family. This person has to protect, the people around him. I know people that have been assaulted physically, and
and these are not like big people or anything. So I can just imagine what they would probably do to someone like Khaled, but I'm not condoning it because I don't like the fact that he's not saying anything. I feel like he should say something, right? Or, hey, here's a link. Look, this is an organization that I feel like is reputable and you could donate to, or something. There's other celebrities, Bella Hadid, the Hadid sisters. They've, lost plenty of contracts. They've lost plenty of opportunities because of their stance. So, I mean, I think that there are, certain people that stand for their people, but there's just people that are not,
And I just looked it up. Hold on real quick. And I just looked up. DJ Khaled has not been to the West Bank, Ramallah, where he came from as a child, since 1986. He has not stepped a foot into Palestine. 86.
So I just listen. At this point, I just look at all these celebrities and wealthy people as financial slaves. Like at this point, the more money you have, the more of a slave you will be because you do not want to lose that money. That's just a thing that I've come to recognize. But to Sin, your point, there's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. I'm not going to say it right, but he says, if you trade your liberty for security, you deserve neither and will get neither. And I believe that at this point, we're just showing the powers that be that, hey, all you have to do is apply a little bit of financial pressure to people and they will fold, they will bend, they will go against their own integrity and morals to keep whatever money and little status and little value that they think they have instead of doing the right thing. And to me, and I said that before when I first came in the room, like I sit back and I used to read history and look at slavery, look at what happened in Nazi Germany and all these other crimes against humanities that happened. And I always wondered, like, yo, what did people think? Like, were people not saying, yo, this is wrong? And here I am living in it in 2025 and I'm already seeing what it is. People just don't want to, and I said it before, people are just self-interested. They're just instead of saying that, wow, this is a real issue, like we all in the grand scheme of things are getting fucked regardless. Inflation is higher than it's ever been. The wealthy are getting like Elon Musk is projected to be the first trillionaire in history. And we are fighting for crumbs when people there's people that wake up in this world that don't even get the opportunity to even fight straight out the womb, starving. And we're here discussing like our luxuries. So for I don't know, maybe it's a philosophical thing, but for me it's like, how are we supposed to improve the world that we live in if we're still operating in mine? Like we should really take some time out to really think and say, hey, like certain things aren't just worth it, because at the end of the day it might be them across the pond. Yeah, it is. It might be them across the pond, but tomorrow it could be you.
And brother, everything that you said, I wouldn't disagree with you on. The only thing is, I'm not in a place to judge anyone, because guess what? I don't know their heart. I am not God. So we can pass judgment all day long, and do all those different things. I choose not to. Y'all go right on ahead.
Well, he happens to be a Muslim, so we have something in Islam that, a beautiful tradition and a beautiful, understanding of our text.
Absolutely.
And we know that, yes, you may not be able to read someone's mind or no one's heart, but intentions are based on actions also. And that's how we know. So his actions that showed he knows no concern, nor he is in no way doesn't matter to him the welfare of the Palestinian people. He does not want to get caught in the politics because he doesn't want to lose wealth, because that's what's important to him, his lavish lifestyle. And that is apparent by his actions. Point blank. You could try to defend it all you want. That's your prerogative.
Wait a minute, hold up, because I'm a respectful person. Again, don't say
I'm not being disrespectful.
anything.
Man, with all due respect, you said...
Excuse me, sir. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not trying to defend anything, period. That's it. You can continue on. I'm not trying to defend anything. Go ahead. Continue on.
Okay, well then, when people try to say that we don't know what he's doing or whatever, neither do they. We once again know what he's showing with his actions, and that's what we're gonna go about, since none of us know. And the fact of the matter is, he doesn't care. Okay. Because we surely know that Jennifer Lopez just 3 days ago donated $3 million to the Palestinian cause. Why do people know that?
People's hearts. I just want to know, did you guys go to like this special MRI class?
No, we got the revelation from the Almighty God, so we know these things.
At the end of the day, so you telling me that God told you that DJ Khaled is not doing these things, is what you're saying?
No, I think what he's saying.
What I'm saying is.
Hold on, listen.
All right, go ahead.
No, what he's saying is this: 2 months before the election, we knew Kamala was going to lose because of no radical stance on Gaza. You want to interrupt me because you don't want the audience to know the truth.
I'm not interrupting.
We knew she was going to. Well, how come everyone can speak but me? The audience is wondering.
Go ahead, baby.
So we. But I was already going ahead. I know you want to keep talking me because that's the hypocrite stance. That's why you have Trump. That's why he's going to slap the shit out of you all. And that's because the last chance you had was through Kamala. If you had convinced her, not you personally, but the movement, had convinced her to make a stand on Gaza, she would have gotten 13 million more votes. That's what's hurting you now. That's why you're under Trump's orange big. And so therefore, the Gaza that you refuse to look at, you're experiencing now. It's happening to you.
You get it all
well
out?
Said. That's well said. It's only going to get worse if we look away.
Did you get it all out?
Yeah, I want the young people to be aware. So forget these older people because they don't get it. They're going to figure it out and understand in 9 months. But you young people already get it, like fuck 12 and resistance and water. So keep going with what you're doing. Because that's the reason we're in this shit is because of no stance on Gaza. And that's why we're faced with this clown Trump. So just like you laugh at MAGA saying they fucked around and found out, no, motherfucker. You all fucked around and found out, and you're going to find out for another 11 years. Because Republicans ain't coming out of office.
So that means you don't live in the States.
That's going to be your Gaza.
So you don't live in the States. So you're not.
I'm telling you the truth.
Part of us.
And I know
didn't say that you're not telling the truth. I didn't say.
I know it triggers you. That's why you want to interrupt me.
You know, you've been talking for a minute. I can ask a question. Listen, point. Don't piss me off. Because you know you and I, we go together. So don't do it.
Yeah, Odie, why are you so silent? Keep Nigeria alive. Look at Tinubu. Your own Gaza is happening in Nigeria. So stop all the hypocritical bullshit, you older people, and let the young people move forward. Give them all the financial support and all the information they need behind the scenes and get the fuck out of the way.
Anyway, so you live in the States? Yes or no? Okay. So you're not going to be impacted. It's just us that's going to suffer. Got it.
I told you that 2 months ago. You're fucked. Yeah.
Whatever, point. I'm not. You said I was going with you, so I'm not worried about it. Listen, I'm not worried about it, just like you're not worried about it.
I'm worried about fuck 12, resistance, and water continuing
F12 said, that was the other thing I wanted to say. F12 said that
they should be the moderators.
That they shouldn't have voted for Kamala. Because
they should be the moderators. Yeah, they have the information.
Well, they can go and open their own space, and you can go in there and help them. Or you can go open your space, and all of y'all can go in
we know that. We know that. We're trying to have another division here.
No, I definitely agree with that. That no one should have never voted for Kamala. All the Democrats, absolutely.
See?
I'm saying.
See?
Well, I didn't say that. I just want to
I'd rather know the terrorist than the one that's hiding be doing the terrorism.
It's the resistance one.
Yes.
Got it.
Because we knew,
That's the one who said it.
We knew what Donald Trump was going to do. That wasn't a secret.
No,
but
that's
what the Democrats
bullshit.
were going to try to do.
So who should have voted for resistance? Who should have voted for?
No one should have voted. We should have withheld our votes. All of the Democrats should have withheld their votes.
Ain't that about
Everyone.
What would have happened?
Whatever would have happened then. Civil War, whatever would have happened, I don't care. The point is, no one should have ever voted. None of that corruption.
Right point. We should listen to resistance.
Nigga said vote for the.
Nigga be hiding something. They're talking like bullshit Civil War.
No, I don't hide, my nigga. I'm out on the front line. I'm out in the front lines. I'm in the front lines.
When the last time you shot a gun, bro?
When I had to do my 15 years in prison.
You shot a gun in prison?
No, I was convicted for taking someone's life. You could be next if you want.
Oh, please. Please come
on. Why would you do that?
Since he's questioning my gun, since he's questioning my gun game.
I'm gonna have to bomb the room.
Is he allowed to remain?
He's cool.
Is that cause?
Because these are the cowards that wouldn't do it. They wouldn't harm a fly. These are the cowards. These are the cowards that let his people. These are the cowards that let his people get oppressed by the white colonizers, and he wouldn't do a damn thing.
Resistance. I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in fighting, bro.
That's because you're a coward.
No, we can't be threatening people's lives. Like, what's
Okay, so is that cause for him to be
I didn't threaten his life.
Can I respond to his please?
You questioned his manhood, Haitian, so you got to stand on 10 with him.
At least someone heard exactly.
So resistance.
Biased people. Is that?
Bro, if you shut the fuck up, I can respond to you. I'll let you speak. I'll let you threaten my life. Right? So you think you're so bad and you killed one motherfucking person. Bro, I've been to war 6 fucking times. Shut the fuck up, you pussy.
You bitch, you didn't go to war. You went to countries and killed innocent people on behalf of the Americans. You fucking colonizing animal. You went to Afghanistan. You went to Iraq and killed innocent people. You didn't go to war. You were never in no fucking war. What other army did you go against, motherfucker? Stop lying to yourself. The last time America went to Afghanistan, they got their ass whipped by the Mujahideen. Went running like coward bitches. Only people y'all can kill is innocent people in Gaza and in Iraq, motherfucker. You forget Abu Ghraib, motherfucker, when y'all kidnap innocent Iraqis and torturing them? Y'all ain't never fight nobody, motherfucker. Tell a lie to yourself. Nigga, the last war America was in, which was Vietnam, a real war, they got their ass whipped also. Went running like bitches. They came back a bunch of junkies.
Dude, you a fucking
speech impediment because of it. We get the fuck up.
Yeah, some of you motherfuckers talk so much shit and have no fucking clue.
You can't even talk.
It's funny. And Water, shut your fucking mouth.
Nah, I move both of y'all to the audience.
Because you killed one person, you think you're big and bad, and it'll probably be some pussy shit anyway.
Yo, y'all know this shit is recorded on YouTube, right?
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, threatening somebody's life is insane.
I'm not worried about no fucking shit like that.
It's not about that. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just letting y'all know, be aware that you guys talking. Y'all don't know when that shit is on YouTube, but it's live right now on YouTube.
To say that kind of stuff out loud when it wasn't even warranted, you were just asking him about the last time he shot a gun. And then it just escalated somewhere. I don't know about that.
Okay, this is why I said I will not tolerate. And the following question was because he said a civil war. Like he's down to go to war.
But this is resistance for you. This is how he behaves. Just I don't tolerate any nonsense. He says the darnest of things, but it's okay. I just want to quickly point out that this same guy said there were 5,000 people protesting at the UN. I worked in the UN. I see I have colleagues in the UN. Nobody protested at the UN yesterday. Again, you can, I mean, like, let's just stop this. I know that people are feeling bad.
They did it virtually, though. They did it virtually. They did it virtually.
Oh, virtually, oh.
Via Zoom.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was a Zoom.
No,
I think excuse me. I think his anger is perpetuated by the following. You have a country now where mass men are pulling up and abducting people. So I don't know what rules you're working with, not you people in the room, I'm just saying the country. And so his statement, although scathing, that I do know how to use a gun, blah, 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 I think you need to pay attention. The recent mass shooting in Manhattan, the reason the guy could double park his BMW get out with a rifle, dressed the way he was, and no one said anything, is because they thought he was ICE. And that's the truth that won't come out in the media for you. But those are some of the truths that some of us know behind the scenes. And some of you on Clubhouse, we now know clearly. You don't even know what's fucking going on. You're hypocrites. Because if you knew what was going on, you would have known Kamala was losing 2 months before the election because of Gaza. That's why his passion is the way it is. But you fucked around and found out. And so now you're on Clubhouse running rooms complaining about, oh, did you see what Trump did? Oh my God. Oh my. That's his point.
How is that passion when motherfuckers telling people not to vote? How is it passion when the motherfucker probably can't even vote? How is it passion when the motherfucker first came out of prison after 15 fucking years getting fucked in the ass?
So is it hard to empathize that people are just tired of voting and seeing that specific political party that has a whole bunch of promises where even the presidential candidate could come up and say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. But when it comes to black people, black problems, black needs, black wants, there is no type of urgency, no type of prioritization, nothing. When it comes to black people, it's, hey, there's a whole bunch of people in front of the bus, you're going to have to wait in the back.
I hear you, bro. So listen, I'm not a Democrat, right? But at the end of the day,
neither am I, brother.
I don't agree with a lot of shit they do. But at the end of the day, when you only have one other fucking option, who are you gonna go with? Period. Look what the fuck is going on right now with Trump. So for people to say, oh, you should have held your vote from Kamala or fuck the Democrats, you'll be fucked more. At least you can fuck with some fucking grease.
Well,
now you can't fuck with no loop.
Well, for me, the way I look at it is that I'd rather see the whole shit burn down. And I think, in my opinion, I'm willing to ride out this uncomfortable ass ride because that's what it is.
So what about the kids? What about the kids who starved to death?
That's what it is right there. Pass, you're gonna vote.
Wait,
so hold on.
One second. That's what it is right there, Plug 12. Exactly what you said. People want to see America burn down to the ground. You guys hate Democrats so much you want to punish Democrats by not voting for stupid ass Jill Stein or whoever the fuck else because you want to see America crumble, bro.
Well, to be fair, that is hyperbole. That is hyperbole speaking. That is no. I said that because no, that's me expressing the level of like just destruction or whatever has to happen for people to wake up and say, wow, what did it take for us to get to this point?
With the more better, with a
Repeat that again. Why don't I move to a different country? Well, because that is American value.
A country where there's a prime minister, a president what I'm saying, let me finish what I said.
You're cutting off. You're in a matrix, man.
Have a prime minister or a president. See if you can get citizens. Move to a country where there's a prime minister or some type of president that's going to represent your values, okay? Because there's not going to be a perfect president. But at the same time, when you're looking at parties in the United States, if you're looking for legislation that's going to benefit you, you're going to look towards Democrats. You want immediate gratification. You forget that you're not the only person in the United States. These policies have to complement not only you, but the people around you.
All right, so real quick, for one, I'm an American, so I can definitely stay here and continue to criticize my country because that is what makes me an American. If I'm willing to sit
Just go ahead and get to your point. Get to your point, because y'all complaining about the Democratic Party.
So why are you cutting me off, man? I don't understand why you're in your feelings. With all due respect, I'm not projecting onto you. I'm not cutting you off. I let you get your point off. Now let me get my point off.
I will continue to keep talking, and I will continue to keep talking.
All right, so continue, ma'am. So continue, ma'am. So continue.
You keep disrespecting the Democratic Party, but that's where the Democrats. But guess what? They're the ones that's coming with the legislation that you need.
just because it's not perfect to you, it's not perfect for you, it's enough for this country. You got Republicans that don't give a fuck about you, how you wipe your ass, how you gonna eat, how you gonna live. They don't give a fuck about you. You're not in the top 1%. You a broke ass Dusty on this fucking phone talking to us and complaining about shit you can't have. You want shit. You want. Motherfucker, go do something about it.
Okay, so thank you for the projection because you're entirely wrong about majority of the things you said, especially starting with the broke and Dusty. I'm far from that actually. And two, the legislation. Hold on, man. The legislation that Democrats continue to push and advocate for, again, have done nothing for my party. I'm not loyal. See, that's the issue. People in this country are extremely tribalistic and like a pledge allegiance to a fucking party. It's a two-system party for a reason. And one of those parties, especially the Democrats, were extremely racist not so long ago. Ask your great-great-grandmother about that. So at the end of the day, because I choose to say that I don't want to participate in the bullshit and continue to get breadcrumbs when I know what's really going on. So you're just gonna continue to mute me? I'm like, can I speak or what's going on?
No, they're triggered by the truth. So let it go. It's just it's just
I don't understand. How are you gonna continue to project and like not want to get corrected?
You sound ignorant.
No, you're projecting. You projecting about things.
To bring up. You act
all right, you sound like you're in your feelings. You sound like you're in your feelings, man.
What did Lyndon B. Johnson say after he signed the Civil Rights Act?
Ma'am, you sound like you are in your feelings, man.
You sound like you're in your feelings, man. You actually don't know shit about.
Ma'am, you're in your feelings. You're in your feelings, and it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You are in your feelings, man.
The New Deal, the fucking Civil Rights Act. So much shit has happened in between with those parties that their ideology changed. You're stupid.
So what has the Democrats brought for you? Let me know what they have done for you. What they have done to bring black people out of poverty. Let me know. But if you don't vote for me, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Other than that. And then when he did become president, he wrote executive orders for Pacific Islanders, right? For shit that they went through for 2 years.
Pacific Islander.
Yes, he did. In 2020, because of the pandemic, both Biden orders a fucking executive. It was for Asians. It was for Asians. It was for Asians and Pacific Islanders.
No, you can't do any type.
Do you want me? Yo, are you ignorant?
Are you ignorant? What you're talking about? So you are a Dusty because you don't read.
My goodness! All right, hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
I know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, you don't.
Pacific Islanders.
Read it verbatim so we can understand its comprehension. Read it verbatim.
President Biden's Executive Order 14031 established a federal integrity working group as part of the White House Initiative on Asian American, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. That's just one thing. Again, to what's the word I want to use? To cater to a certain community. Meanwhile, the community.
Can you read it and not editorialize?
Okay, let me find an actual.
His fingers gonna get tired.
So hold on right here.
You cannot write any type of legislation.
All right, so here we go. Executive order on advancing equity, justice, and opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, policy, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders, individuals, and communities are irrefutable sources of our nation's strength. These communities have molded American experiences, yada, 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 the richness of America's...
you can't do the yada, yada.
Are you guys going to really sit here and all right.
Yeah.
So these communities have molded American experience, and the achievements of AA and NHPI communities make the United States stronger and more vibrant. The richness of America's multicultural democracy is strengthened by the diversities of AA and NHPI communities and the many cultures and languages of Asian Americans and NHPI individuals in the United States. Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities together constitute the fastest growing ethnic group in the United States and make rich contributions to our society, our economy, and our culture. Yet, for so long, systematic barriers, right? Forget about black people. Systematic barriers to equity, justice, and opportunity put the American dream out of reach of many Asian Americans and NHPI communities. Many Asian Americans and NHPI individuals face persistent disparities in socioeconomic health and educational outcomes. Linguistic isolation and lack of access to language assistance services continue to lock many Asian Americans individuals out of opportunity. Too often, federal data collection practices fail to measure, reflect, and desegregate the diversity of Asian Americans. These practices contribute to often painful and enduring stereotypes about Asian Americans as a model minority and obscure disparities within Asian Americans. So now I'm going to fast forward to this bill that, again, President Advisory Commission of Asian Americans. There is established in the Department of Health and Human Services the President's Advisory Commission on Asian Americans. The commission shall be led by 2 chairs, the development monitoring, yada, yada. This, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just need to get to. All right, so here we go. The initiative shall advance these efforts, identify and eliminate any existing institutional policies or barriers within federal programs, improve safety, access to justice, and violence prevention for Asian Americans, including by preventing, reporting, addressing, and tracking acts of hate and bias, promote inclusion and belonging for Asian Americans, including by expanding public education and knowledge of Asian Americans. Wow, that sounds like when black people asked for the same thing, critical race theory, it was a big issue, but for Asian Americans, guess what? It's okay.
Your comprehension is so sad. But
my comprehension is
it's a commission. He did an EO for a commission, for a study, because they left out of the data.
That was for a hate crime. That was a separate article.
You just read it. I interpreted what you just read.
No, that was a separate article.
Do
I
what you
changed the
research
article.
for commission. Okay. All right.
I don't know what's going on here. You can't write legislation for a specific race. When he did that executive order was putting together a group, right? It was a group to study what the fuck was going on in that community. That's it. It was a group. They have a bunch of groups for each of these communities. We have one for our community. What's going on here? This shit is about civil rights and anti-hate. That's it. And if you actually look at the legislation that they did pass, that they used the word Asian in, it addressed everyone. It wasn't just for them.
So anti-hate is not something that doesn't affect black communities.
Use another nigga on the app. That's all you are.
I don't want to be the nigga on that. That's the problem. You want to be the bitch on the app, not me.
You don't read and you can't comprehend.
You want to be the bitch on the app, not me.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta go to this part, bro?
Nah.
Really?
Come on.
Why does she have to call me a nigga? I have not used that word at all.
Bullshit. Nah, you good.
But she didn't call you out your name.
I called you what you.
Hey, ML. Hey, brother ML.
Fine people.
Good to see you. We haven't seen you in place in a while. You have failed this quarter.
I was on vacation and
you failed.
social media break.
You failed. Period.
I failed.
Mm-hmm.
This is really weird. People don't even understand. Like, people come up on me. This rich guy that just came off the fucking stage that you put in the go. This rich guy that's so well read doesn't understand fucking simple fucking legislation or executive orders or what the executive order was for. Something's wrong. Like, something's seriously wrong with fucking Americans. Because every one of y'all that come up here that's fucking MAGA or says you don't want to vote or says dumb shit like I vote for the terrorists I know or the racists I know, a whole black woman, the racists I know, y'all are crazy. Your mother should have squeezed the legs when you was coming out.
Or she should have swallowed before she was getting fucked.
Swallowed. There you go.
Wipe the ass on a napkin.
Hey, yo, no.
See, what I don't understand, can you hear me back?
Well, they're all
This is the first time I'm hearing you. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can, Sonya.
Okay, thank you. What I don't understand is why these MAGAs are so geeked to be part of a party that kicked their black asses out 50 years ago. I don't understand. They literally, when it was the Black People's Party, they literally turned around and said, we don't want y'all. So I don't understand why they going so hard for the fucking MAGAs. I don't get it.
That's something we'll never get. That's just. Democrats have to be perfect. Democrats have to do everything perfect, otherwise we're punished or dragged. That's it. I mean, he said it. It's like if he doesn't get every single thing that he wants, then fuck us, we ain't shit. That's basically what he said. He wants 10 things, we gotta give him the 10 things. If we give him 8, he's rather just vote for anarchy.
And I don't understand why. I get the Palestinian thing, the Gaza thing, but why they don't understand that Kamala could not. She was under strict orders of what she could say and what she could not say. She was still the vice president of the United States. So I don't understand why they couldn't understand that. Trump could say anything he wanted because he wasn't president. He wasn't vice president. He was just somebody running for office. So he could say whatever the fuck he wants, and then everything that he promised, you see what happened. We ain't getting shit. What? No, $5 trillion added to the deficit. That's what.
That's exactly the case. I learned that as a DNC member. When the president is a Democrat, the president runs the party, so everything is done from the president. You can't move without the president saying so. So yeah, exactly like you said, she could only do so much.
And not to mention, if a Democrat was to say half the stuff that Donald Trump said, they will not be getting a vote, period. From their own party. And that's the truth.
You guys did y'all see what he posted in the chat?
No,
that hate crime, that Asian hate crime bill. As if that was just specifically for Asians as well.
Well, maybe we should tell him that we Asian in here. Maybe he should know that.
Like, I still can't believe that people are still talking about the Asian crime deal. Like,
because they don't understand it. And they think just because it says the Asian crime bill, that it wasn't for everybody. They don't read, they don't research, they don't understand. It's just ridiculous.
Well, what happens is they allow someone to tell them what they need to know versus going and doing their own research. It's the difference.
But lady, we have for years told people the truth. And what I find so frustrating is that you see them in another room or another conversation and they would regurgitate the exact false point that you would correct it and provided evidence, a source to back up whatever your we lost
Is my
him.
internet broken?
No, we lost him now. He sounded like he's going to a tunnel.
Yeah,
Oh, we kind of lost Patty too.
Yeah, I'm in a bad zone.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, I was saying that one thing that's so frustrating is that you meet certain people on this app and you have a conversation with them. You refute what they say, and you provide sources to back up whatever premise you. But then you sit them in another room and they regurgitate the same shit that you would push back on, that you would debunk before. Like apparently they didn't learn anything new. That's I find to be the most infuriating part of having conversations with MAGA.
I think that's because you assume that they want to learn.
That's a good point. But what's preventing them from actually consuming new information?
They don't want new information. That's how demagoguery and ideologues work. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how much proof you have. It was just like we were listening to something. I don't know if it was last night or this morning. And the guy said to the woman, he's like, I'm gonna give you this data and these facts. And she said, I won't believe you. Wow. What do you do with that?
Wow.
What do you do with that? There are some of these people for whom spreading the idea is more important than understanding the implications of the idea or gaining information that may shift them off of the idea. You just have some ideologues. They stuck for whatever.
And I just want to say this because I have a client that I just spoke to who screwed herself by asking ChatGPT for advice. I'm like, no, for legal advice. Now I have to clean it all up, and it's gonna take me a lot longer. Like, it's so hard to fucking undo a mess, right? I think a lot of people are relying on ChatGPT as accurate, and it's it's not accurate all the time. And please don't use it for legal advice. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed.
Man, that's wild. Yeah, the AI is hallucinating. It's a common occurrence, and yeah, people should know that. And yeah, exactly. Don't take advice. But ChatGPT told me I should spend more time on Clubhouse, so that's why I'm here. I'm just kidding.
But you guys saw this week there's a judge who censured a lawyer for using ChatGPT and submitting a docket with a case law that doesn't exist or a precedent that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's happened.
Made that shit up.
That's happened multiple times where lawyers have used ChatGPT and it cites case law that doesn't exist.
It happened to one of Trump's lawyers. They caught it in one of his cases.
Yes.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as like Wikipedia. Like you use that as a jumping off point for research. You don't use it as the end.
Yeah, especially
exactly.
People don't talk about provide a source and it's Wikipedia.
The only source on Clubhouse for me is Dr. AG. I'll say, Dr. AG said.
And you are a wise woman, saying.
She's an encyclopedia and dictionary.
And now I'm an archive.
It just keeps growing.
Hey, Quinn, what you doing, Quinn? Why you down there, Quinn? Where you at, Quinn? This is funny.
crazy, and you know it's real sad because it's usually males.
We listen and we don't judge. I got kids by my uncle. All three are his, and my baby daddy think the kids is his.
You see that video I sent you, Betty? It was hours ago. No, I'm relieved.
Resolution number 2024. So, like, the status quo is not sufficient.
Through, the sword, but people to encourage people to follow that. Like, that's not what we're seeing in these, entities and others in the world.
What I was referring to is people who I know. There is no incentive for them to just say free Palestine on their fucking head.
What she's standing up for is for speed. Now that they're getting it again.
I love it.
Thank you, sis.
Smash, Mary Kill.
How much do you guys pay for it in Chicago?
We don't actually rent it, we own it. With the HOA, we pay around $2,700.
Can I tour your guys' apartment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Welcome to my vintage apartment, built in 1920 by a female architect, Emma Kenneth. This is my hallway, this is my entryway. I want it to be like cozy and warm, so I have this bench, like decorative coffee books. That's the vintage art that I got from a vintage store. Beautiful art piece that represents my country. Welcome to the living room where me and my fiance and my little dog hang out a lot.
I'm crazy, man. I think that the idea
idea of tenure should get thrown out of the fucking window. I think that if you're a bad teacher, it should be easier to fire you. The fact that you're responsible for the education of the youth of this country, and you got a job that it's one of the hardest to fire you, it's backwards. We should make it very easy to fire teachers.
No, I completely agree that we should make it easier to fire teachers, because I don't, in my opinion, I don't think your issue is necessarily that they're overpaid. I think their issue is that they're getting paid something that would be considered overpaid for people that don't have the skill set of what it should be to be an effective teacher. Because I feel like the majority of those competent teachers left after the pay, and when the kids started getting way fucking crazy, just like, yeah, I'm not getting paid enough to deal with this shit, and then they dipped out, and that was it. Those are the good teachers that we had. They got pushed their fucking point after I don't know how long doing it, and then we had to get some shitty fucking replacements of just anybody we could find to make sure there's an adult in that classroom in some way, shape, or form, and then. Yeah, it seems like they're being overpaid for the work that gets put out, because everybody fucking left because of the pay, and now we only have the shit scrabblers that are there to work for I don't know what, unless you get like a fucking, you know, a diamond in the rough like myself, and then you get someone who actually gives a shit about wanting to teach the kids and set them up for the future, right? You get half the people that are there just because they need some cash for part-time or want to be a substitute fucking teacher and then accidentally ended up staying in the classroom. So I don't think it's all completely on the teacher, especially when you have some parents that, as much as the teacher does teach well, as much as the teacher does do things in the classroom, as much as he does try to keep shit engaged, they don't discipline their fucking kids. Their kids don't pay attention in class. They're super fucking disrespectful. When they get back home, they act out that same fucking disrespect they give to me to their parents. Those same parents don't do shit but kneel and bow the knee to their fucking child like they run the household and not them. So a lot of the time, while I will say it's not like teachers have no fault in this whatsoever, because I completely agree. There's some of my coworkers that I don't think should be fucking teachers because they teach like shit, and I wouldn't want to be in that classroom. But at the same time, it's not like I can't also understand that, hey, their classroom might be shitty, but you can't be a good fucking parent either. It goes on both ends. It starts at home and ends in the school. Both have responsibility.
Yeah, there's other problems with the education system. The fact that you have compulsory education, and in some states you refuse to allow parents to send their kids, direct their tax dollars to allow somebody to escape these failing schools and to be able to use those funds more wisely to put kids in an education modality that might be better suited to their kid. I'm a big believer in educational freedom. I think that you should, as a parent, be able to direct those tax dollars in any way you seem fit to be able to deal with the education of your kids. But there's many people that disagree with this. What they prefer is that you trap people into failing schools. And you make it compulsory that the parent must send their kid to this failing school. And by the way, if you don't send your kid to the failing school, you can actually go to jail because education is compulsory. And so this is the craziness that we have in this country, where you know we understand that the importance of education is going to impact our future, yet we allow our system to be erected in such a way that we almost guarantee that the system is going to fail. The higher education works really, really well. I think we still do a good job of educating people. But when the federal government got involved in that, the cost went up. You started paying for backing the loans, and when the government backs the loans for higher education, the lenders can give the money to anybody, doesn't matter what their credit risk is, and if the person defaults on that loan, it doesn't matter, the lender's going to get it because the taxpayers are going to foot the bill. I think the entire education system, K through 12, as well as the university level, is broken fundamentally, and we need to fix it. But there's people that don't even want to have that conversation because they're too fixated on the idea of guaranteeing people.
Mother, would you say you're like laissez-faire capitalist, or what? Like, I guess what's your kind of compass?
Oh yeah, I am definitely a capitalist in its purest form. I would, if I had my way, I would the same way that you guys want to separate church and state, I would want to separate the market and state. I don't believe that the way that we allow government to interfere and put their hand on the scale of the market makes sense at all. In fact, I would completely privatize education if it were left up to me. The only thing that I think that the government should be spending taxpayer dollars on is to fund the military, fund police, and to fund courts. That's the extent of the government that I think we should pay for at the federal.
And I guess in terms of, I guess what I'm gathering from hearing you speak, because I've heard you speak a bit, but not like a ton, but I guess you're not necessarily looking for equality or even equity. You are more so looking for maximalization of profit and the freedom of a market to do that of its own, like however it wants to do it.
Well, first of all, that's a good catch. I don't believe in equality. I think it's an illusion. Milton Friedman said that if you put equality in front of liberty, you get neither. But if you put liberty in front of equality, you get heapings of both. I think he's right about that. I think we should recognize that people are not equal. The knowledge, skill, and ability of the people on stage are all very different. And I think we should factor that in. The only thing that we should be focused on when it comes to being equal is equal protection under the law. And I think when people are fighting for equality of outcomes or even equality of opportunity, they're actually disregarding and fighting against the notion of equal protection under the law. Fundamentally, I believe that the best system that we could have is one where you're free to succeed or to fail. The one thing I would disagree with is he said that the focus should be on profits. That's the goal for business owners, is to be profitable. But my concern is more on the freedom to allow businesses to fail or succeed. If they're profitable, it's because they ran a good business. If they fail, then so be it. That's part of the process also. I definitely don't think that you should be guaranteed a fucking profit. I think you should have to work for that.
Definitely. And then the last thing, because that gives me a good idea, and it just frames, further future questions. The last thing, when you say, when you talk about how, the separation of state and market, I guess, kind of what comes up in my head is, before we had certain laws, there were things that I think were objectively bad, like having children working in coal mines and that sort of conditions. So I think that I view at least some level of state intervention as necessary. What's your kind of stance on that side?
I think understanding that the harm reduction is what we should be aiming for. Some child labor laws are written ridiculously. While I don't think kids should work at a coal mine, you have to think about, at a time, my grandfather who raised me worked at a coal mine when he was a child, in the state of Colorado. And the economic conditions were such where he and his brothers needed to find employment. They quit school to go find employment, and the only place that was hiring was the coal mine. And so when the alternative is that you starve or the kids go find a way to make money, I would love to see a world in which kids don't have to do that. But what we've done is, in this overzealous, we can't have children working, we're now preventing somebody that, let's say, owns a floral shop from teaching their kid the family business, for example. And I don't think that there's a harm in letting a child learn how to trim flowers, for example. And so I think there's different labor that you could put kids at. I certainly am not an advocate for children, going into diamond mines. I'm not a supporter of that. But I also think that blaming the state for the lack of regulation is not really addressing the problem in the first place. the first thing that I would look to is where were the parents that allowed their kid to go and work in the coal mine, and what were the parents doing? And then if their circumstances was so dire that working in the coal mine was actually going to improve the quality of their life, I think it would be immoral for the government to intervene in that.
I'd like to hear your position on power, away from the capital, the money, paychecks. What forces play that gives the powerful, say a business owner, to make 400 times what his employee makes with let's say their staff is 10,000. How does that make sense that people just bow down like that?
Well, why would we ever want to put a cap on what somebody...
in comparison to what they pay someone?
I mean, I can answer that, because when that's kind of the inherent issue is when you have one person or this very small group of people. And I'm not talking about small businesses, of course, but if you have a huge corporation, and the CEO is able to basically give themselves kind of whatever, and they're the business is successful. There's nothing stopping them from more equitably sharing those profits that business has made. I think in that sense, it's not that I'm advocating for a cap on what they can make. I'm more so advocating for a cap in the ratio, because the argument that people make is okay, if you're a CEO, you've got all this expertise, you know what it takes to run the business. I totally agree. People have no idea what goes into run, especially a really, really big company. So I'm with that, but is one person working 4,000? Are they 4,000 times working that much harder, 10,000 times harder? I mean, there should be some sort of
Well, if somebody builds a business that allows them to hire employees, and employment is a two-way street. I put out a job rec, you apply to it, you come and interview for it. Typically, you'll comb your hair nice, you'll shave, and you'll put on your Sunday best, and you'll say, I want this job, knowing what the pay is. Nobody's asking you to work for nothing. In fact, they're not grabbing people with a net off the street to come work for them. People are coming to that business and saying, that job that you need done and the pay that you offer, I would like that. And so that's a contract. And so when the employees are applying for those jobs, and the prices are set based on the value of the work that gets done. And again, that value is not based on how much profit the business makes. It's based on how easily replaceable you are. If you're a warehouse a worker, or you're a driver, it's not to say that the work that you're doing isn't physically demanding. It just means that there's a lot of people that could do physically demanding work, or that they could drive the vehicle. All they need is a clean driving record, and we can get them to do that. If you can use GPS and you can unload the truck, and you're physically capable of doing that, there is a lot of people that can do that. And just the fact that you have the job doesn't mean that you're entitled to the money that the company makes. Where I think that we would find some common ground, and I think a better thing to look at, is the role that government plays in these businesses. What you guys are asking for, it seems like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is some sort of regulation. You talk about ratios between C-level pay and the worker bee pay. I would rather have the government out of that, and I would also like the government to not provide subsidies to these businesses. I would also like to make sure that the taxpayer dollars are not going to bail out failed companies, especially in the banking sector. When the bank is failing, we do a wealth transfer from the taxpayers to the banks, because the banks were in quote-unquote crisis, and then the money that was given to them by the taxpayers, they then use to pay bonuses to the executives. There's definitely some obscene things that go on at corporations. There's no doubt about it. But from my vantage point, all of those obscenities that we see, come from the fact that the government has an unhealthy relationship in the business sector. They create regulatory agencies that provide favor to specific companies within certain industries. They deem that some companies are too important to fail. And they invest in them in the beginning, they invest in them in the middle, and even if the business fails, they give them more money. I think all of that should stop. I don't believe that the government should be giving these handouts. What we have today is exactly what Benito Mussolini envisioned in Italy. The idea of corporatism, the unity of government and corporations. So I think that I have a lot of smoke for corporations. I just point it in a different direction. The solution that it seems like you guys are asking for is for the government to get more involved. I'm suggesting that the government should not be.
You know, that's actually pretty interesting because one of my core issues with capitalism is I've talked to a few people about this, and I don't think I've seen anyone really give me an example or breakdown of how it doesn't lead to corporatism, because naturally what's going to happen is certain companies will outperform others. I'm totally in agreement. We're not equal. Some people are going to do better. That's just a fact. Which isn't a problem. But then what ends up happening is, once you get to a certain size, then you can start doing things like, buying out the competition. Or that dirty of a game, you can kill off the competition, or you can buy politicians. And I think that the reason that we have this deep, because I agree. I mean, honestly, a lot of what you said, I don't fundamentally dislike. I don't think anything you said is false. I think we're seeing it in different ways, but I agree. Yeah, there's too much of that, but I think that's intentional. It's as a result of these corporations and kind of super PACs, all that sort of thing. You get these very large sums of money between very few people, and then they use that money to influence the government and actually effectively give both the government and by extension themselves more power. So how do you have a capitalist system that doesn't lead to?
I think it's very simple. The distinction of a corporation doesn't even need to be made. In my opinion, having a corporation is a recognized government distinction. If we just got, you don't need to be a corporation to be a company. And then when you structure as a corporation, you now have different government protections. I don't want the companies to be protected by the government. The only thing I want them to be protected from is overregulation. When I look at the biggest expansion in the U.S. economy, it was a time when regulation was very non-existent. From 1870 to 1900, you saw the Industrial Revolution. We came out of we had slavery, then we go through Reconstruction, and then all of a sudden we deregulate the market, and economic expansion is better than it's been in the entirety of human history in a 30-year period. And then the response to that was that we saw some companies made a lot of money. That made certain people very rich. Maybe we should put some regulation. And again, I'm going to be that guy. If you think about some people that want total control of the market, and then there's somebody like myself that's saying very, very little, right? I'm a minimalist. I can make the argument for no interference at all. And there's going to be a meeting in the middle. I think what's happened is we've allowed the people that have scared people that these corporations are evil. And I don't think the corporations are fundamentally evil. I think it's the collusion between government and corporations that creates this problem. I cannot for the life of me, and I challenge you guys, find one company in the entire history of the United States that became a monopoly in their industry without the assist of the government, without a subsidy or without regulatory favor or without some sort of infusion of cash or government contracts. Show me a company that became a monopoly that got there by without the government's help. And that's the problem. You don't see organic monopolies because when the government stays out of it, we do have competition. And when we have competition, what we see is more efficiency, what we see is lower cost, and what we see is innovation. Everything moves in the positive direction when we increase competition. And if you want to increase competition, you have to deregulate them.
That's definitely an interesting point. I think we're gonna have to look into that and see, because I definitely get what you're saying, and I can think of some examples as well. And really, I'm forgetting now, because I remember what was it, Ford versus Dodge, that like kind of led to it was like one of the foundational, I guess, legal outcomes that kind of led to the shareholder obligation thing. And I feel like, if I remember, there was even like interference in that whole thing. Like the government kind of effectively helped them in that sense. But anyway, no, that definitely makes sense. I think that is one of the issues, is the capitalism leading to corporatism, and I think that's the point that you've made. I can't really refute because I don't know. Without looking that up, I'd have to do some diving. But there's also the extraction. The other thing I wanted to touch on, and I think, who was this? MGK, that was saying like, oh, okay, they do, bring 4,000 or 40,000 times more or whatever. I think this is where I guess me and the right fundamentally diverge, is because I don't think that that's possible. I do think that a person can probably, be 10 times better or 20 or maybe even 30 times. It can be some obscene number. Like if I was to play against LeBron James and you were to quantify how much better he is than me, I'm sure he's fucking 30, 40, 50 times better than me at fucking basketball. But could LeBron James beat 4,000 of me at basketball? Like, no, I don't give a fuck. He's fucking LeBron James, but like there's 4,000 of me. My point is there gets to be a point where it's unrealistic to say that, just any ratio possible is quote unquote fair. Because in order for that person to generate that much, even if they're doing everything right, even if they're a fucking great CEO and they're handling shit and they're a fucking genius, in order for that business to run, they are still utilizing the labor of other people. And I get what you're saying, Moshe.
Well, Dwight, here's the issue, right? If the government stayed out of this, imagine the government stayed out of this. And imagine, let's say, think of a big company, like, let's say an Amazon or a Google or just a big company, right? If a company was not paying their employees enough, right? In a truly free market where we don't overregulate, if one company was just crushing it, the employees could go to work for a competitor. And if a competitor was, let's say, in second place, let's say there's a market where there's 4 players, right? Let's say there's 4 major players that could do a particular product or service, right? Like, that could realistically hit scale and do this. Let's say there's 4 players. If one was kicking everybody's ass but was abusing their employees by not having the right work conditions, not paying them well enough, and the employees were upset about this, their competitors could go and find the most talented people amongst those employees and recruit them and pay them more and give them better benefits and better conditions. And by having the better people, you would innovate faster, you would make better products, you would be able to increase the value of what you're offering in the marketplace. And so I just have a hell of a lot more faith in the free market than I do in giving the decision making. Because the question that you haven't answered is, if you think the CEO's ratio of pay is so out of whack with the employee, who do you think would make the most sense to have dominion over that company to say, moving forward, this is the cap? Who would you give the power to make those decisions, and where do they get the knowledge that they can intervene and make a decision on where that cap?
Yeah, I think that could be something that, of course, where we also differ is I'm obviously, pro government involvement to an extent, although not to the extent it is now. You have laws and regulations in place where maybe it's a range. Maybe for a smaller business, the ratio is like 9-to-1, or maybe if you have a business with 100,000 employees, maybe it's 100-to-1, something like that. We can have we have economists, we have people that are way smarter than anybody in this room probably, that know all kinds of shit that can be utilized to help inform these decisions, so that the collective can make an informed decision.
So Dwight, why do you think it's important to compare the pay of these distinctly different jobs? Why do you think that's important?
What do you mean by that? Like different.
So let's talk Amazon, right? Well, just to give an example, you have Jeff Bezos has a lot of money. Amazon does a ton of different things. Started off very innocently enough as a online bookstore, for those that remember, and now they provide web services. They're hyperscaler that businesses build upon. And then they also have Prime Video. They also have a delivery service. Small business owners can use their platform to sell their products. Amazon also sells their own garbage. They do a lot of things. Which worker at Amazon do you think deserves a salary that is 1/9 of Jeff Bezos?
Like during the early times, or now?
Now. Do you think that there's that warehouse work at Amazon should be more highly compensated than warehouse work, let's say, at some wholesale glass manufacturer for automobiles?
Well, yeah. If the company is worth a certain amount, like I don't see any reason why you couldn't have it where there's and maybe for this example, we go with what you suggest, which is no minimum wage. But let's say, even if there is, let's say there's a minimum amount that you have to pay people because, whatever, regulation or law, whatever. Okay, if you're at Amazon and, the company is worth XYZ amount, well, the amount that the workers are able to be compensated can be scaled. And there's a lot of different ways you can achieve that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a ratio of, worker to CEO. It could be something
Dwight, what about the incentive structure for the employees? If you got a job, let's say as an entry-level warehouse worker in an Amazon warehouse, rather than soliciting that the government get involved and even out these ratios and take some of Bezos' pay and give it to the warehouse workers, what about the obtaining new skills and working in that warehouse? You go from lifting boxes to getting certified to drive the forklift, which is going to get you an increase in pay. You stick around, you get your cost of living adjustment. Maybe you're such a hard worker that they recognize you and they make you a shift supervisor. Eventually, you might even be managing the entire warehouse. I would recommend that any worker always look at how do I increase my value to the company I'm working for, or improve my knowledge, skills, and ability to make myself more marketable to another company that might pay me better, rather than thinking, I don't think I make enough money, it's unfair that guy has. Maybe if the government got involved, I would have it better off. I think that you have far more control, and it's a much better system where you create incentives where the person that builds the best mousetrap, markets the mousetrap the best, and sells the most mousetraps, makes the most money. And the people that are helping them to manufacture it, to sell it, distribute it, all of those things, they're going to get paid accordingly for the knowledge, skills, and ability they have. And so the incentive that you have is to just obtain the most marketable skills, the skills that pay the best.
Yeah, that would still apply.
If you want to make Jeff Bezos money, then what I would suggest is that you go and innovate something and start a business and scale it the way that Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, no, that would still apply. Like your pay would be based on your value to the company still. It just wouldn't be such a vast difference where you can have, one or two people taking such a high percentage of so many people's labor, paying them.
Why do you care?
Because to me, that would make more sense as far as, one, an equitable society, two,
but hold on. Who said an equitable society is fair? The whole notion of equality is unfair. If you want people to be treated equal, in order to do that, you have to put your hand on the scale. How is that fair to the business owner?
Right, and that's why I say equitable, not equal, because I agree. Like, equality is just not achievable. I don't think, even if we wanted to.
Dwight, really quickly, I want to ask you. Actually, I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm just going to make a statement. Oftentimes, I hear the arguments similar to yours coming from, I think it's a good place, but it's possibly misinformed by the idea that there is like a pie out there that is the money that can be divided up between people, and the more the haves can somehow gain, the less the have-nots have access to. But it's not the case. It's just not the case at all. The pie can be made larger and larger, and oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, the compensation you're talking about, and that, you're skeptical of, which again, I understand if you're looking at it as a fixed, amount of resources. But what you have is a Jeff Bezos type who actually makes the pie so much bigger. And if under those circumstances, I'm just curious, but again, I'm not going to ask if that would change the way that you see this at all. Perceiving that income as a resource is not limited to one pool that can never grow or shrink. It's actually quite the opposite. Shrinking would be devastating, and so having these decisions in the wrong hands would have some really terrible outcomes. You're already skeptical of government interference in the way that impacts our markets and how these corporations operate. And so I'm just curious, thinking about that pie shrinking, since it is not fixed, and knowing that government influence can have negative impacts on it, why you would want more, because you've already agreed that yes, you appreciate regulation, but you don't like some of the outcomes of it, and see if in fact a Jeff Bezos type or someone in a position like that can actually make the pie much bigger, so that there is actually more pie to how it shifts your calculus. Again, you don't have to answer it. It's more of like a thought experiment.
Yeah,
because I feel like you're coming from a fixed pie place.
I definitely don't view it as fixed, and in fact, so basically, if the Federal Reserve, right, wants to increase the amount of money in circulation, they do. I forget the exact product. This is stuff I am familiar with, but I don't.
But hold on. So we're
familiar enough with it.
But hold on just a sec. Hold on. Before you start doing this, I don't want you to bring the Federal Reserve into it, because we're talking about. If we just keep using Jeff Bezos, we're talking about an individual who innovates into a market, which was Roger's right. It was bookselling, and I remember being so excited because I was able to spend much less on books in college at the time. Anyway, we're talking about someone who is actually providing a good or service that people need, and that's what creates the income that can eventually go around as it is today. We're not talking about a printing money.
Well, what I'm saying is, when the pie expands, because you're talking about like production, but yeah, when the pie expands, both in terms of printing money and in terms of production, it still doesn't increase for the workers proportionately. Like that's why things are
I'm
less
actually
affordable
banned
now.
from the room.
Like even when you account for inflation, things are less affordable
I don't know,
now
I can't get in there. I'm blocked.
for the typical person than say X number of years ago. So
It's just this.
either way,
This isn't true.
I mean,
All this is as opposed to having one business does not make the. It does not explain. It doesn't do what you're saying.
Tanks in about a few months after the October 7th, a few months afterwards, and they use fighter jets to go and
the typical person's like the median income today.
I'm saying, I guess
versus the median cost of a house.
I understand, but you're discussing something different, which is not what I. Okay, so if you don't think that there is just one big pie out there, and that if Jeff Bezos takes $4 billion and he should have only taken one, that $3 billion have been taken out of the pockets of everybody else, and you think that pie isn't fixed, it can grow, it can shrink, etc. You don't need to go into inflation. You don't need to go into economic dynamics to.
Well, I get what you're saying. Oh, did you cut out? I can't hear. I don't know if y'all can hear. I can't hear.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Kelly was done because it sounded like I didn't.
The conversation does not need to change. We don't need to start talking about the Fed. We don't need to start talking about inflation. We could, but I wasn't trying to bring in more topics. I was just suggesting that people who appreciate that there is a fixed pie look at this differently than people who appreciate that it can either grow or it can shrink.
Right. No, I agree on that. I wasn't trying to necessarily like go off on a tangent. I was just saying like I agree with you on that point. I'm just saying like when the pie grows, even in the way that you're discussing, like it still is the same thing. Like it still is basically just disproportionately benefiting like the few as opposed to the many. Because that's I think like one of the arguments. Because that would be about the point of making that argument. It's like, oh well, they provide all this value to society because they're actually increasing the size of the pie. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool and all, but if the increase in the pie is just disproportionately benefiting the few, then I don't see how that's
Let me explain it a different way. Okay. So you say that you want to change the way that these ratios are allocated. If you were to do that, because you have to think about there's top line revenue, there's bottom line revenue, right? And if you were to take, and let's say we did what you recommended, which is like the ratio could only be 9-to-1. You have to look at, and this is why employees should never make these calls, and government should absolutely not make these calls, is that you don't have the visibility into where that money would have been allocated otherwise. Like under the current system, they allocate money towards research and development of new products, to optimize and reduce the expense for the current products that they sell, to make the company even more profitable, and to be able to expand the business, which creates more jobs, which actually benefits the economy. By creating jobs, they're doing their part. When you make this demand, you're essentially going to impact the business in a way that makes it less competitive, because they now have to spend the money on higher labor costs, so they're not going to have the same R&D. They're not going to be able to innovate in the same way that they would otherwise by allocating these dollars. And so I think the fact that if the business is running with the cost of labor that they have, the only time I think that you would have a reasonable case to increase the labor is if you had really poor morale and the labor was ineffective. Then maybe you could say, hey, we need to look at the conditions conditions in which they work in. Maybe we need to, hire a higher caliber of employee. All of those types of things, and labor costs could go up if labor is the issue. But if they're making all this money with the labor that they have, labor is not the problem. And I think what's selfish is the idea of, hey, we should take more from the guy at the top to distribute to these people, despite knowing that by doing that, you reduce the chance of creating more jobs for other people. And so this is why I would always leave the decision making in the hands of the creator.
I'll jump in here real quick if that's all right. Yeah, I wanted to give some pushback to the idea of the LeBron James analogy and the other forms of physical labor compared to a CEO. And I'm going to justify the idea that maybe a CEO does produce 4,000 times the value. And here's the thing: when it comes to the LeBron analogy, you mentioned playing a game of one-on-one. The issue is that he's capped by a body, right? And same thing when it comes to employees that do physical labor. They're capped by the physical labor that they can produce, right? But the issue, and here's why I think it doesn't make any sense to compare them, is because I think it's two different planes of value. Meaning, physical labor is really dependent mostly on effort, right? But when it comes to a CEO, they're not necessarily doing physical labor, and they don't really get paid for that. But it's more like they get paid for the impact of their decisions and how they leverage that over massive multi national organizations, right? So it's kind of unfair to how can I put it, compare how much a CEO is making to an employee when the reason why they're getting paid are very different reasons. And it's like, look, maybe it's not that the CEO is doing 4 times the labor, but just the fact that their decisions sort of affect thousands of employees, the million.
Well, it's bigger than that, and I just want to insert this, and you please continue. I would make the argument that Jeff Bezos is 1.5 million times more valuable than each one of his employees because he has created jobs for 1.5 million people, whereas the people that are working for him have created no jobs. And so the mere fact that he's employed 1.5 million people, yes, he's absolutely worth more money than any of the people that work.
I totally agree. When you think about a business, it's sort of like the centralization of value. You're giving value to the customer, to the employees that you're hiring. Maybe you're giving them benefits, a way to feed their family. You're giving value to the shareholder, and you're giving value so much to the point that it's the value that you're giving and people wanting that value over their own dollars is what creates the large sum of money that CEOs get paid. So it's sort of like they get paid so much because they provide so much value, and the second they stop providing that value, then we get to put it somewhere else. So I think in that sense, it's sort of like, and this is why I said fair in a chat before, which is like, well, this seems like if everybody is sort of like someone was describing, increasing the slice of the pie so more people could get the slice of the pie, and theirs is bigger despite everyone still getting a slice of the pie, and everyone agreed to the roles that they're in, right? They're all doing this through voluntary participation. It seems like that seems pretty fair to me. And it's like, look, if everyone agreed to the income that they're making at this job, it's like I feel kind of weird being the person sort of stepping in between someone and sort of getting in between a salary that they agree to with their own volition and things like that. So it seems to me that that it's totally fair that the CEO gets paid more, and I think that it's justified in the value that they provide, because it's just their decisions are just affecting a lot more people, billions of capital, whereas an employee, even though, look, they're doing a really useful job, right? But it's like the impact of their labor, depending on a job, really, it's sort of it's just not as big as a single decision that a CEO can make that affects billions of capital.
Also, too, like, when you look at this, the accountability factor, like, which everybody's just not bringing up. I'm going to go back, because I know somebody in my life that really loved Pottery Barn, or not Pottery, Yeah, was it Pier 1 Imports, whatever that fucking company
It wasn't a man. It wasn't a man, baby. Go ahead.
I know. But this person I really loved me, and I loved her. But she loved Pier 1. Pier 1 went out of business. And the overall issue was that they couldn't compete. They couldn't develop. And everybody was screaming about the jobs. Everybody was upset because this institution was going away. They called it a must save. And they blamed who? The board, the CEO, everybody in leadership. Not one employee took accountability. There was an employee up there going, you know what? I failed Pier 1 because I couldn't sell enough items. I couldn't keep us in the black. I couldn't keep us moving. You never hear that from employees. And it's like the of grandeur that you're somehow bigger than the other parts that are needed to run through. Someone has to steer the ship. Someone has to give the commands. And someone has to take the accountability. But it just seems like whenever I hear these equity, Jeff Bezos should be making, what was it, 9 times, or the employee should be making, 1/9 of his salary or something like that.
Which I believe the pushback was 100 times. CEO shouldn't be making 100 times the lowest amount there.
But you should actually look up what Jeff Bezos' salary is from Amazon. I believe it's like 85, 90,000. I think they pay him $1.5 million for security through Amazon to make sure he's not killed or knocked off or somebody buying that.
Yeah, but that's not how he makes money. He makes money through shares.
Yeah, he makes money through his shares. He makes all of it through his investments in building the brands and doing all of that. That creates those jobs, like Roger said, and what Kelly was going to. I never hear the employees on the lower rung, like a Starbucks worker, going, I'm accountable because Starbucks had a bad quarter. It's my fault because I couldn't sell a pumpkin spice latte to some fucking princess driving an SUV. You never hear that. You never, it's really weird to me that workers will never take accountability, but they want all the perks. And they'll never put forth the amount of effort, energy, and have a vision to actually propel it ahead, which is why you'll have 1 in 1,000 rise to the top. They'll become a leader. They'll become a manager, supervisor, director, whatever. They'll always rise up because those are the ones that are willing to take the accountability, the responsibility, steer it in a direction, and keep pushing and keep driving. While the rest just, I'm going to be honest, a lot of workers are just not there. I would not give $1 billion to a fucking fry cook at McDonald's because the McDonald's CEO makes a fucking fortune. It wouldn't make sense in this world. How you would ever computate that, I don't know.
Well, again,
go ahead.
I just go back to the question of there's 2 fundamental questions. One, why would we want to externally, enforce any type of cap on what somebody can earn? I wouldn't want to put a cap on what the CEO could pay an employee if they choose to, and I don't understand why we would want to institute a cap on the CEO, which, by the way, CEOs don't decide what their own pay is. That's decided by the board anyway. So yes, they have a big say in it, and but you get paid. You negotiate these things. Some people want a $1 salary and they want more equity. He wouldn't be making that much money if he hadn't created the value that he has. One of the biggest things that he's creating is jobs itself. And I think it's interesting that the laborers or the people that don't even work there are the ones that want to give their opinion that somehow he needs to share his money with share more of what he's making with others, when the money that gets allocated for labor is adequate to keep the company going and to innovate and release new products, which creates more jobs, expands into new places. I mean, they're a global company that's employing 1.5 million people, and you want to impart your wisdom on how they might do it more fairly. And your idea of fair is that the person that's steered this ship make less money.
Yeah, hello everybody. I just got here.
Well, hold on, before you
oh, sure.
Moose, I think I spoke over Moose. Moose, go ahead, and then we'll.
Thanks. Yeah. Right. So I guess the CEOs, they take the glory and they take the brunt of the, if it's a failure, it's on the CEO, right? They have to answer to the board, the stockholders, and all that. So, like with Brad's example, though, of tier one, when you're saying that, well, where were the employees to help out tier one? I mean, I'm going to guess that the average, let's say 20 something, even college students, single mom, whatever the demographic is that work at the stores, they have absolutely no idea of the magic behind the corporate curtain. The average employee not only doesn't have any say in what stores should open or close, they have no say even on their own schedule. I'm sorry, are you coming off mic? I'm almost done. Sorry, if you could wait till I finish, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So that's what I'm saying. So it's at the end of the day, you're saying, well, where are the employees that could have saved, Pier 1? Well, what about all the executives and high-up managers that made obviously bad decisions about locations of stores, how much commerce to try to do online, product placement, the pricing, all that. And they have no say in that whatsoever. They're trying to, I think, at the end of the day, fight for their benefits. Fight for proper overtime, which actually always regulated on the up and up. So I think I hear you. Like, yes, a lot of CEOs, deserve the credit for their success. However, I don't know that the employees can really be put. I don't think it's one size fits all. I think, like generally the way it goes, if morale is in the toilet, it will slowly be reflected on the front line with customer service, right? And then the worse the customer service is, people start going elsewhere. But employees who do feel empowered by their executives, who do feel empowered by the managers on the floor, will again have the reverse effect. Folks will be coming in more. You get that repeat business. You have to empower your employees at some point. I'm not saying you have to give them every little thing they want, but come to the table and be fair.
Yeah, real quick. I just want to insert this, and I know Steve's got to jump in too, and then you can go, Brad. But just real quickly, I agree that if there is an issue with employee morale and productivity, you should do some honest inspecting of what you can do that would improve the morale, the productivity, all of those things. And sometimes pay, sometimes benefits, sometimes it's just the environment, sometimes it's the culture and the way that you treat the employees. There's a lot of things that you could do, and I think good companies do work on that. Some companies, though, have a problem where they've got so many applicants that they have a culture where they'll treat their employees like shit, because if the person quits, they've got 100,000 people that want to take the job. But the reason why you don't want to overcorrect and fix that problem is because you have to remember, if there's a lot of applicants for that job is easy to find people to do. And so I don't advocate for treating those people like shit. I would advocate for enabling them to feel as good as they can about the job that they have, so they can be as productive as they can for you. But the question still comes down to, who should make that decision? And I wish that this app had a polling feature where we can ask the people in the chat and on the stage, do you think the government should decide these things? Do you think the company should decide these things? Do you think the employees that are in question should decide these things? Or do you think it's a combination of those things? My answer would be clear on that, but I'd be interested if you guys want to engage in the chat on this, of who you think should make that decision. And I know Steve wants to jump in, and then Brad wants to go, and I'm sure Moose wants to reply to what's being said. So let's go Steve, Brad, and then back.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Firstly, Starbucks was mentioned briefly on Starbucks. They arguably have a CBA, a collective bargaining agreement. I think their average barista gets $30 an hour, plus like PTO, paid time off. They also get benefits up the gazoo, and that's just for pouring coffee, $30 an hour. As far as Jeff Bezos, as we all know, he started the company in his fucking garage with his wife, and as Roger correctly said, he now employs or has over 1.5 million people working for him. So how much should he be entitled to? I agree with Roger that I don't think people should have a limit put on their value. People are paid what they are worth. He employs 1.5 million people. Well, let's cut it down by 90%. Let's give him 150,000% more than, you know what? Let's bring it down 99%. He employs 1.5 million people. Let's give him 15,000 times what everybody else makes. But is that unfair based on those numbers? I also wanted to land with this. I know that Costco managers make anywhere between 100 and 150 grand a year, plus benefits, plus stock options. Costco employees.
Steve, can I just insert this?
Sure.
Costco also has an industry-leading 7% employee match on their 401k.
Absolutely. And for those of you that have the option of a 401k match, and you're not putting in at least the amount of the match, you are a financial idiot. If your company offers a match, and mine does, you're throwing away 100% investment on your money, tax-free, if you don't put up the match. But back to Costco. Costco managers make anywhere from between 100 and 180 grand a year, plus the match, plus stock options, plus benefits up the gazoo. Their employees are entitled to profit sharing and benefits, and I believe they make like $25-30 an hour. So are the managers not entitled to make more than, twice as much as the people that they're responsible for? Oh, they also get bonus for their manager location depending on the profits. I believe people are paid their worth. I do not believe anybody is underpaid or overpaid their worth, because if you're underpaid, go get another job at what you are paid. And Roger, thank you.
Yeah, I want to just add something to the Costco thing, because it's an interesting study. They have a culture where they almost exclusively promote from within. It is very difficult to get into their leadership ranks without being an entry-level employee. Almost everybody gets promoted from within, which makes the culture very strong, because you don't have to worry about working really hard and some outsider coming in, and because they went to the right school or know the right person, they're going to get that job. There's still going to be some nepotism within the ecosystem of the store itself, but they also have a relationship with their customers. So they treat their employees right. That's number one. The customers, since 1985, they've been offering a hot dog and a soda for $1.50. Now, I don't necessarily know the health impact of what they're doing to their customers, but financially, they've kept that at a loss for a long time, and they're going to continue to do that. In fact, when the former CEO left, he made a joke about if they raised the price of the hot dog and the soda, he would kill the new CEO. And so, they are dedicated to the relationship they have with their customers, and they have a culture of taking care of their employees, promoting from within, all of those types of things. And I don't think it's a secret to anyone, but most retail is so adversely affected by online shopping. But if you go to Costco any day of the week, that parking lot is fucking full. I don't care what Costco it is, anywhere in the country. They are doing something right with their employees. They're doing something right for their shareholders. I don't know if you've seen what their stock has done over the years. Everybody benefits, because I think Costco is one of the best examples in
U.S. history of a company with alignment between, protecting the value for shareholders, protecting the value for employees, protecting the value for customers. I think that's a model that other companies should follow. But if you look at all the companies that don't do that have come and gone over the years, I think it's an excellent example for us to look at of, why it's good to take care of your customers and your employees.
And before Brad goes, very quickly, another example is Trader Joe's. Now, I know nothing about the stock end of Trader Joe's, but I know that most employees of Trader Joe's are happy. Most customers, like me, of Trader Joe's are happy. They do not hire, they do not have a CBA with a union. All of their employees are non-union, and they hire from mosely, like Roger said with Costco, they hire from within. Trader Joe's is another good example.
So I was just going to go back to Moose's point when he was talking about peer water, and I wanted to bring up another example. It was Antiocho, whatever. He was the CEO of Blockbuster, and he was the CEO before Keys took over and basically ran it into the ground. And he brought out a lot of visions. He wanted to put Blockbuster on to compete with Netflix and other online platforms. He wanted to take Blockbuster Music, which was the thing back in the day, and put it on to compete with iTunes, etc., all the other ones that were running out. And he ended up working and buying Viacom, or Viacom buying them in the music industry. This man faced internal pressure from not just the board, but from people within the company, other investors who said it was just a joke because Blockbuster was Blockbuster. And this guy saw the writing on the wall. And because of these internal disputes, because of employees beneath him that circumvented him, challenged his authority, challenged his vision, the company was already in a decline. And to revitalize it by competing with the other markets that were emerging, and they pushed back on him so hard, it led to their own demise, where Keys comes in and basically rolled back all of Antiocho's new program and they just rolled back all the decisions, and then all of a sudden Blockbuster fucking disappeared. All those employees lost a job because they didn't agree with the CEO's decision of where they needed to go for the future. Gives me a prime case in point that employees should never really, it's hard to say that they should have that much a say in the overall control of the company, because we've watched too many companies over the years, like a Blockbuster, fall because you had the employees revolt against leadership, revolt against vision that they don't understand. They don't look at the landscape the same way. They only look at the narrow focus of their Monday through Friday job and what their paycheck is going to bring home. And I hope in the future that I never have to worry about working with or for a company that follows that they did.
Matrix, dropout Matrix.
Yeah.
As Pink Floyd once asked the eternal question, is there anybody out there? Or am I in the Matrix?
No, I hear you. I can hear you.
I'm here for 5. I'm here for 5 minutes, and I have a meeting with my boss.
Gotcha. Steve, I was curious, before you run, before you have to go to your meeting, and I don't know, the hourly rate, because all I could find for Starbucks was $15, $16 an hour with $19 for like a shift manager. I was wondering if the $30 an hour rate that you mentioned earlier, does that include stock?
Well, tell you what, I guess I better do some heavy lifting. Don't stop talking, but I'll be back in
No worries, but to the question of the room, the room title, I will say, indubitably, I don't know who I'm guessing, who are the guys? Paul and Rohan, I guess, that started this app. I've read multiple articles. I think, others have too, that they, during the pandemic was their golden, they had the golden goose. They had a captive audience, brilliant idea, didn't really have competition at that time. And I think they were valued at least $1 billion at one point during the pandemic. The owners passed. They figured it would just, what could possibly go wrong? It can only go up from here. So now we see them kind of doing different things. I think symptoms of a ship in trouble is just throwing paint at the wall. Like kind of how they did with changing the hallway dramatically, changing, I think, moderation powers. Of course, the biggest one that we've all seen is this weird monthly subscription, albeit $5, right? God knows we've all spent $5 a month on far worse things. But what are we getting? Like, so to me as a consumer, sure, well, it's like, Moose, you can't complain. We're getting this for free. Sure, to what extent though? I intuitively thought that, okay, now they're actually going to start offering perks like being a creep and being anonymous, where you cannot participate in chat, you cannot go on the stage, and the mod cannot kick you out. Now, I know a lot of folks have been freaking out, like, we all saw in season 1 of Clubhouse, capital letters, regardless of what your political affiliation was, everyone had in their profile, I do not consent to being recorded. Well, you actually do. The T's and C's on this app, I think, Roger, you were talking about this last night, we've all consented. Like, I couldn't possibly imagine anything I say on Clubhouse to come back, if I'm going to run for a political office, and my opponent is going to mudsling me with, well, Moose, you were talking about Starbucks salaries, and we got a clip right here. Like, I don't know why people would really care what you're being, unless you're saying like some really far crazy, extremely racist stuff, or obviously anything related to pedophilia that you might have been involved with. Obviously, right, the obvious things that nobody should be saying out loud in general, let alone on an app. But for me, intuitively, I don't care if you're charging $1 a month or $100 a month. If you are now charging your customers, that means your expectation of your customers and your consumers has gone up, obviously, which means intuitively on the balance of that, our expectations of the plethora of bugs on this app need to be addressed. I'm sure many of you, I don't think it's just a droid thing. The fact that you still have like that little indicator that you have new messages, and I know first world problems, but the fact that we still have an indicator if you have new messages when you don't, the fact that you can delete some back channel messages, but others you cannot, and for some reason you can delete some, and for some reason you can unsubscribe from other chats, is absolutely wild to me. I honestly think a high school coder with basic coding and engineer skills could fix these bugs. So I'm going to have to point the problems to those. Again, I'm not saying those two individuals, but whomever they have empowered to address these sort of bugs. Apparently, they're not high on their priority, but I absolutely have no problem with people recording me. I know everyone's up in arms, people freaking out. Oh, no, this Anon person is streaming us on YouTube. Great. Who cares? Like, we're in a world now on social media where you have no rights. Like, well, we all click off that little T and C box, but we don't read the 25 pages in microscopic lettering that enables us to use the app. We're just like, oh, let me just use it. So anyway, I don't know if anyone else has a similar frustration. For example, the new message indicator.
Well, Moose, I wanted to get back to you. I'm sorry to interrupt. So, Moose, I was wrong. You were actually correct. I put it in the group chat. It appears that the average wage of Starbucks is $16 to $19 an hour, but if you include all the paid time off, you include the option to be paid for your schooling and education and all the other benefits, they say it averages out to about $30 an hour, but the average pay is $16 to $19. And on the Clubhouse thing, before I go, I didn't hear what was said prior to 15, 20 minutes ago, but it is a documented fact that Clubhouse started with an initial infusion of $100 million. It was a couple of months after that, another $300 million. So they've had a capital infusion of a total of $400 million. And as far as I'm aware to date, they have not taken in one single dollar of profit. Yeah, you know what, Marcos? Go on mute or I have to drop the thank you. As far as I'm aware, Clubhouse has not declared one single dollar of gross profit, but they did start out with $100 million and then another $300 million for a total of $400 million. Business has been running 5 years now. Just a question, how do you run a business for 5 years and not have a single dollar of gross profit? Forget about net profit, gross profit. And thanks, you guys. It's been fun.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Steve.
David. Well, I'll say this. I don't think Clubhouse is ruined. I like Clubhouse. And I'll also say, present company excluded, but the biggest people complaining about who ruined Clubhouse are the fucking biggest grifters on this app. And I'll stand on my square on that shit.
I think it's interesting. Clearly, when the money runs out, Clubhouse will be gone, or they'll get bought by someone else that may or may not decide to keep it going. You can't keep it going forever if you're not making money. That's first and foremost. As far as is it a dying app? The numbers suggest that it's. I mean, depending on the snapshot that you want to start from, is it a dying app? Absolutely. The peak of April 2021 was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. And so maybe if you started with like a starting point of January 2025, maybe they're picking up a little bit of momentum, but they're nowhere near where they were in the early part of 2021. And it's funny that Paul and Rowan have said themselves, which is an interesting thing to say. Our biggest problem was we grew too fast.
I remember when they said that. Yep.
Yeah. And now, that wasn't their biggest problem. Their biggest problem was the growth that they had was caused by people being on lockdown, and they had no plan to continue the momentum. Their lack of creativity on how to drive people to the app without a pandemic happening, that is on them. Their inability to market or incentivize to people to share. The other thing that I think that people don't talk about enough is that those of us that have been on this app, we should be, in theory, the biggest advocates for telling people about this app. But almost everybody that I know on this app, they don't want their family and friends on here for multiple reasons. This app can be crazy. And the content that we get into, these conversations that can be contentious and people are saying outlandish shit, they don't want their family and friends. They certainly don't want their coworkers. They don't want them anywhere near this app. And there's no real way that I can think of cleaning that up, because the things that we all enjoy about it is the unfettered nature of these conversations. And I don't think the rest of the world is ready for it. I think that we're these we have this weird obsession with these unfettered conversations. Most people would be shocked; they wouldn't be able to handle it, and that's why a lot of people left. And it's why celebrities will never come back. When you have guys that comedians should be quick-witted and be able to respond to people